it about control? Losing the grip, you get old. Turn to the sea, I don't know how, but you found me. Never too late to get up. Maybe it's not.
Raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air.
Okay.
Raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air.
All right.
Raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air.
Okay.
Raise your fist in the air, raise your fist in the air. Raise your fist in the air. Dance for it to a mosh pit. Come on.
Screaming night, quick walls, exclusive interview that's cutting through the fight. Mike and hand the hot rod engine roaring through the dust. And every question like a gunshot racing through the rust. Speeding down the lonely highway, tire scream the night. Quick ones, exclusive interview that's cutting through the fight. Mike and hand like a hot rod engine roaring through the dusk. Every question like a gunshot racing through the rust. Face to face with truth uncovered, raw and burning wild. Eyes locked tight like mirrors, grinning devil's crooked smile. Thunder in the distance, pistons pump to fierce delight. Words collide like metal clashes, sparks ignite the night, the night. Faster, faster to the finish line, no looking back. Drag race revelation high on adrenaline's track. Heartbeat pounding louder than 1,000-inch scream. One-on-one exclusive like a twisted fever dream. Each answer reps the motor, dangerous and hot. Truth explodes like shrapnel in this verbal fire slot. Journalist and rock a duel like warriors in the crime. Captured in the crossfire, trapped in the wheels of time. Every sentence blazes trails through dark and gnarly turns. Burning rubber, soul to soul, heated secrets burns. Headlights blinding future past a blurry neon light. In the drag race interview, the truth comes into sight. Faster, faster to the finish line, no looking back. Drag race revelation high on adrenaline's track. Heartbeat pounding louder than 1,000-inch scream. One-on-one exclusive like a twisted fever dream. Faster to the finish line, no looking back. Drag race revelation high on adrenaline's crack. Heartbeats pounding louder than 1,000-inch scream. One-on-one exclusive like a twisted fever dream. Each answer worth, don't looking back. Drag race revelation on adrenaline's crack. Heartbeats pounding louder than 1,000-inch scream. One-on-one exclusive like a twisted fever dream. Fever dream.
Targets acquired.
Eagle 1, first strike. You have permission to engage the target.
Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Welcome back, everyone, to the show. How is everybody? Looks a little light in here. Hopefully some people stream on in as we keep going. I see that we had Anson Knowles in earlier. Ericar Oak. Emmett is in the house, or he was. 13, what's up, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. It's been a minute. Brandon Looney Tunes Fan 2000. You're new here? All right. Sounds cool. Doing well. Been a hectic couple of weeks. Not being able to get all my shows in. Not hitting my normal times. But that's just the way that works out sometime. And it seems like my camera's a little off. That's all right. We'll deal with that later. Cool. What's up, Smoking Spaceman? Good to see you as well. We're going to get into a couple of different things today. Obviously, we dropped some bombs recently, like real ones. So that's something. Oh, Ticky Tack, no worries, man. He called me. It's very funny. He called me up and he's like, dude, your stream's still running. And I'm like, what? That's all good, man. It's all good. That's awesome. I went to sleep. I told you guys I was going to go to sleep. I wasn't lying. But it worked out fine. It was cool. My glasses are like really reflective today. I don't know why. I think I'm wearing the coated ones. That's all right. We're just gonna have to suffer through it, guys. At any rate, welcome, Ticky Tack. By the way, thanks for helping out Friday night. I haven't actually looked at how the show did, but we'll get into that later. We've got quite a few. We got some stuff. To talk about. We bombed Iran. They had a church shooting yesterday, or attempted church shooting, I should say, in Michigan, outside of Detroit. Shocker. And we've got some other stuff to talk about. Carmelo Anthony has fled Texas. They're trying to downplay it and say that he moved to Louisiana. Sounds to me like he did actually flee. So who knows? I don't know. I'm gonna have to do something about the glasses though. That's fine. That's fine. Can't deal with all that reflection. I don't know if I have another. I normally have a couple extra sets poking around that might do better. But Florida was great, guys. I had a lot of fun with Glenn, and he RP Thor's daughter was there. I met her, Ashley. She's cool. And then that's just it's just as bad. It may just be that I changed the angles of the screens, so I may need to reposition them. Hey, thank you for subbing up, Brandon. I appreciate that. You can tell me all about yourself if you want to. Just chat away. I don't actually read the chat when it's busy, but it's not right now, so it's a good time. It's a good time to just throw stuff out there. There's a what's the word I'm looking for here? So the thing in Florida. So I thought, and I'm pretty sure Glenn thought that originally it was going to be more podcast oriented because that's kind of what Gia and her brother Aaron, they're both podcasters. So we thought it was going to be podcast oriented, but what it actually was kind of a launch for a product line that Aaron Reed is releasing for his brand Super Style, I think is what it is. And so he's doing some branding stuff. I think that's cool. But I thought it was going to be mostly like a Q&A. I thought there's, you always think different things, and sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. This time I was kind of wrong. That's okay. So I got back yesterday. I had a great day, but I didn't actually. I should have rebuilt the studio yesterday because I took a bunch of stuff with me, and never used it. But then I had to put it all back. So my camera's a little weird today. Well, I'll fix that. Anyway, it's fine. So we got to talk about the Carmelo thing. We've got to talk about the fact that there's no sign of self-defense on the video. And pretty much as soon as that video was released, that's when they moved out of Texas. I hear they're trying to move the trial from Texas to Louisiana. I think there's some considerations there, and maybe they'll move again. The interesting thing about the Carmelo thing is there's no. Yes, Brandon, I see you've got a YouTube channel. Cool, awesome. What do you do on it? The Carmelo thing is very interesting because there's no court documents approving a move out of state. He's out on, as I understand it, he's out on bond on a murder charge in Texas. And in general, that would be considered fleeing the state. Now, obviously, again, I feel like they're trying to downplay this. I feel like that, or it seems like that what they're doing is it seems like they're trying to move or they're really trying to move this to a more favorable venue, so that he doesn't Carmelo doesn't necessarily face the death penalty and probably less prison time, because it's becoming more and more obvious that this is not self-defense. This is not anything that we were led, or some people were led to believe. Give me one sec, guys. Sorry. Sorry, guys. I've got to answer this thing. It's something that's been going on for a little bit. There we go. Sorry about that. Brandon, you do lives, like to stream with me? Well, we could talk about that. Throw out your let's see. But yeah, it's at any rate, it's an interesting thing. I can't wait to see where this kind of goes. Um, um, Man, what a day! Always when you come back, you know, you just never you never know what you're going to get going with. And who have you done lives with there, Brandon? That would be the first question, I guess. All right. Anyway, so Carmelo, I really feel like Carmelo Anthony's Pete. You know, basically, I think I think they knew that the video was going to be. I think we all knew. I knew that once that video came out, that it's just going to be bad for Carmelo. He knew. I think his lawyers knew. I think his dad knew. I think everybody knew that there was no signs of any kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh, self-defense on the video, and I think that everybody knew that. And now the video's come out. It's been released. It's grainy. It's not the best. It's weird how we can have like high def videos of cats running across lawns, but we have grainy ass video of you know, school students in public. It's really weird. Anyway, so you have to think, if you're me, you just have to think that this guy, Carmelo, he knows what's on that video, and he's trying to. You know, of course, his defense has been trying to suppress the video. The video is out, Silvar Ogre, and it does not show. Now it's grainy. It's not good video, but there's no sign at all of self-defense. And look, a lot of people, Officer Tatum, basically everybody on the internet has you know, gone through the video. I don't go through video like that. I'm not a reviewer or whatever, or react. I'm not a video reactor guy, so I just don't care. But yeah, there's obviously a reason why they were trying so hard to suppress the video. It's honestly, it's crazy to think at the lengths that have been gone through to try, and before there's even a trial, to get this to be squashed. You know, they're originally talking about not having the trial open to the public, all of these things, because it's bad, right? And you know, this kid, you know, most of the things the public was led to believe, the narrative that's been spun up by the mainstream media, has nothing to do with reality. And all of the reality that came out in the early hours, like pretty much everything else these days, the reality that comes out in the early hours, you know, he was where he wasn't supposed to be. The team who actually was supposed to be in that area had it looked to them like he was going through their stuff. He had the knife, you know, all of these different things. And you know, now we're finding out, right? Now we're finding out that all of those early reports that were squashed and pushed out by the narrative, there's something to that, right? And now the father, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, the father is going through this deal where, you know, they rented a really not like, or they bought a car. I don't know why, but they bought a car with the donation money, and then they rented an estate. Now that was for safety and security. And now, according to the father, again, moving out of state with apparently, and maybe there's like a super secret squirrel buried in the paperwork, court approval for him to relocate out of state. That'd be highly unusual. But but it would also be public record and you could find it. Nobody's been able to find, as far as I'm aware of yet, nobody's actually been able to find that court-ordered approval of this guy being allowed to relocate out of state. It doesn't exist at this moment. It just doesn't. You can act like it does, but it does not exist. So this creates a problem. And that problem is not going to go away. The problem's just not going to go away. And I personally think that, there's some talk, through various DAs and whatnot, that maybe, maybe that was, some court somewhere allowed that to happen. Nobody's come forward and said, yeah, he's got permission. Moving to Louisiana was for his safety because he was getting threatened or whatever. But here's the thing. Apparently the dude's dad posted on fucking Facebook, of all places, that they moved to Louisiana. I mean, what the hell? If you're really moving for safety and security, why are you telling everyone that, hey, guys, we moved to Louisiana. It's great here. Well, that's awesome. Yay, thumbs up. That seems fucked up. What's up, EOD? I see you out there. And Silver Ogre, I see you there as well. Good to see all of you. And good morning to all. Good morning to all. Did he remember to the banjo on his knee? Probably not. Probably not. What's up, Abe Dinkus? Good to see you, sir. So that was something that kind of happened right before the weekend. I really didn't get a chance to talk about it because I've been offline for a lot. But it is crazy what is going on. That's interesting in and of itself. In the middle of this, last week we had everybody was all mad that the Israelis bombed all of the nuclear research and development facilities in Iran. And you had all of these talking heads talking about how, Iran enriching uranium to 60% or whatever it is that's fine. Even though that's what's considered weapons grade plutonium, they're enriching this. They're enriching the nuclear materials far beyond what is needed for commercial and medical use. Right? Like there is some legitimate uses for enriching uranium and plutonium and that sort of thing. You have tritium, which is enriched to something like 1%, which glows in the dark and it lasts for a long time. That's used for firearm sights, watches, all kinds of glow in the dark, cool stuff. So you have tritium. That's a legit use. You have all of the radioactive stuff they use in medical imaging. That's legit. I think that's enriched to something like 8% or 9%. And all of that sort of thing. So that's all really good. What's up, Caucasian Sasquatch? And what's up, Imperious? So they had so everybody was whining about, well, this is, Israel bad, bombing these places, but we should have bombed those places a long time ago. As a matter of fact, we should have put people in jail. Obama and Biden both furthered Iran's nuclear proliferation, which is something the U.S. has publicly stated multiple times that we're against. Now, we've never actually done anything about it, but I look weird without my glasses. Yeah, freaking you out. Yeah, sorry, man. The problem is I get so much reflection. I don't know what I've done with my non-reflective glasses. So they are the less reflective glasses. These are just like driving me crazy today. And I need to read my camera's a little off, and so I need to change that. My eyes are too far apart. My eyes are not too far apart. But we have had a policy in this country of not wanting Iran and the mullahs to have nuclear weaponry since the 70s. Maybe before that, but definitely in the 70s, we were like, no. And then in the 80s, that was the same way. Reagan, all that. And then Carter, Carter, we had that whole helicopter thing happen. Most people don't remember that. That's okay. You can go look it up. And all along the way, we do not want Iran to have nuclear weapons until there's a Democrat in office, and then nobody cares. Right? Well, Trump has put the stamp on it. He has said, well, yeah, you know what? We don't care whether or not it helps the Israelis out. Our policy has been no nuclear proliferation for Iran. We're going to stick to that. And they sent in the bunker busters, the 32,000 or whatever pound bombs. And they fuck shit up. That's what they did. They fuck shit up. So good on them. Good on them. I don't care if it helps Israel, but it more importantly, we do not want the mullahs to have nuclear weapons. Now, there's a lot of talk when you bring this subject up about, well, they don't have a delivery device. They don't have a delivery mechanism. They don't have intercontinental ballistic missiles. They probably could build a really shitty one, but who cares? Fuck those guys. They don't get it. That's fine. Honestly, my real concern has always been a backpack nuke coming out of Iran, and obviously where they were at 4 days ago, they could have done that. That's a real thing. They could have actually 100% had backpack nukes. That's bad for us. That's just bad. Hassan is going to wear black for 60 days to mourn the nuclear facility. That's probably fucking right? Like, that's probably true. But anyway, I actually the only thing I dislike about it is that actually I don't really know that I dislike a whole lot about it. What's a backpack nuke? A backpack nuke is a very compact, almost what they used to consider a battlefield nuke, where it's very small, low yield, like 3 megaton or something, like 2 megatons, something like that. That's the amount of blast that it produces, and it can be carried in a backpack and set off in a public place. And that's one of the reasons why, whether you realize it or not, they're radiation detectors throughout the U.S. and airports and that sort of thing to detect the radiation coming into the country, which has made it so far has not happened, but it could. So Mullet Baby 01 says most of the people who are on the right and hate the attack on Iran need to learn history. We have been at war with Iran since the Ayatollah had students attack the U.S. embassy in 1980. Partially true. Iran actually has a real so we created the problem in Iran back in 1948, 49, 50, 51, when we decided to go over there, the CIA did, and they were very concerned about the president at that time, the duly elected president at that time, who was pretty anti-American, he was anti-American, and they were the CIA in its depraved insanity and conspiracy theorist best thought that he was going to go communist. So they did not want that. They felt like the CIA made a case that having the mullahs in charge and the fundamentalist ruling the country would be better than having the progressive president, and they were wrong. So the CIA basically the CIA assassinated the legitimate ruler of Iran, that established Ayatollah, and that created our net. That has led to 70 fucking years, 70 years of bullshit. We've been in the sandbox for 70 damn years, and not one thing has changed. Not one thing has changed. We're still sending people over there, and they're still fucking dying. And so, yeah, he was backed by the USSR, but he was not communist. And he wasn't really, I don't know that he was going to go communist. Obviously, this is before my time, and I don't really know, everything that goes on. But, it depends on whose history book you read. He was progressive. He was backed by the USSR. They were backing fucking everybody. But I don't think that meant that he definitely wasn't bending a knee to the USSR. But it doesn't matter. The CIA sees conspiracy everywhere, and that's what they do. They absolutely change the entire landscape. It's just what the CIA does, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's what they do. And that's what they did. And we created that situation. And again, 70 years, we've been over there. We've been fighting every fucking year. How many hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions and hundreds of millions, hundreds of billions of dollars? How many men, women, and children have died over there? Right? Why do we give a fuck? Right? I don't know that I give a fuck. Is Kinetic Kel in? I got to put my glass back. What's up, Kinetic Kel? I'm going to send you a link because you got enough energy to hammer it out today. Give me a sec. I don't normally have people on my afternoon show. I'll have you up, Kel. I need to talk to you anyway. Where the fuck is Kinetic Kel? There it is. All right. I sent you the link now. Boom. You got it. Come on up. But at any rate, yeah, we fucked them up. That's just you're always tuning in from work. The hell, Kel? This is prime streaming hours. At any rate, catch Sunday or Tuesday. I don't stream Sundays or Tuesdays. That's the 2 days. That's my 2 days off. I don't stream those days. So, anyway, yeah. Look, we've got to. We need to get out of the Middle East. We've not done anything. We've not done anything successful in the Middle East ever, except create dictators and get a bunch of people killed. So anyway, Iran nuclear technology set back a little bit, something up, it's anyway, I don't have a problem with the bunker busters going over there and doing what we should have done 15 years ago. The funny thing is that don't forget that the Democrats supported sending $6 billion to Iran with a promise that Iran would not further its nuclear development, right? That they would give up on having a nuclear weapon. That was the idea, and there were some other caveats in there, but that was the big idea. It was, hey, we give you money, we release this money to you because we had seized it. We release this money back to you, and in exchange for that, you guys be good boys and don't try and build thermonuclear devices. They broke that, and we still gave them $6 billion. $6 billion, a lot of money. Just saying, it's a lot of money. I don't have $6 billion. I wish I did. That'd be cool. Anyway, so moving on a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with them busting the bunker. But you know, whatever. And yeah. What's a solid idea, Kinetic Kel? Chairman's out there trolling hardcore today. He's trying to get me going. Ain't gonna work. Ain't gonna work. Yeah. Mullet Baby seems to have a really good grip on this. He's got this down. That sounds like a solid idea, Kinetic Kel. I missed that, and I'm not going to scroll. Were they using the centrifuge to enrich? No, they were actually enriching, and they were enriching beyond what. So the claim is that they were only enriching enough to do. They were only enriching enough for commercial and medical levels. The 6 mil? No, it was 6 billion. Kinetic Kel, thank you for the $4.99. Appreciate that. No, closer to 6 mil. No, it was $6 billion. And the donation, it was not a donation. It was their funds that we had seized because they had already broken the treaty. That was seized under Bush. And when Obama got into office, the very first thing that one of the first things they did was to start negotiating for the release of those funds. Those funds have been seized because Iran had broken the deal. We knew the deal was broken, and they just didn't get there. So oh, I got you. Yeah, you're being sarcastic. Okay, that's cool. Anyway. Yeah. All right. So they don't watch for our political expertise. Yikes. Are you saying that you were clickbait Kel? That would actually be a better name than Kinetic Kel's clickbait Kel. I think I'll start calling you that from now on. At any rate, so yeah. There's a bunch of we don't know the reason that they finally went ahead and said, okay, we can bomb this shit, right? We don't know. Let me see if this will work. Yeah, it works pretty good. All right, so we don't actually know. Is this better, guys? Let me know if this is better. You guys said I was creeping you out there. So, you have your purpose. All right. I don't know about that. I don't know that that's true, Anson, but we can argue about it at some point. So at any rate, I don't have a problem with busting the bunkers. We should have done it a long time ago. We should have done that. Yes, you're right. Obama claimed that Iran owed for the purchase of military equipment paid for by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Obama said it was their money that Reagan kept. Most of it was for the F-14s. Partially true. We had actually because we're the United States of America and we swing the biggest dick in the room. We went to Iran was banking. They were selling oil against the embargo we seized that money. We shut down the banks. We took the money. We cut that off from going. That the money that where they had sold that oil to whoever the fuck they had sold it to. $6 billion today. Can't have it. It's ours now. And there was a lot of, there for a while, it was like, hey, let's just keep that and just, throw it in our budget. But no, it just sat there. And basically the deal was Iran could have it back if they played ball. Bush for years tried to make that happen. The Iran would rattle their sabers, give us our money back, Anyway, Kel is female. Just so you know. But anyway, so again, I don't have a problem with the bunker busting. I think that's cool. What we really need to do is just stay the fuck out of it, right? We have covered our interest. This will be where it matters to me, right? We have covered our interest. Now we need to shut the fuck up, sit on the sidelines, let everything go, right? Be like, hey, our interest was that Iran towed the line when it came to the agreement that they signed. They never did toe that line. It took couple of decades, but we finally got around to smacking them on the ass. And now we're going to sit on the sidelines like we damn well ought to do. We will see. Anyway, so moving on to the meat of the discussion for today. And where do we even begin? So let's talk about this thing in Michigan. So this is a community outside of Detroit. It's a small. It's like one of the not boroughs, but it's a little subdivision kind of deal. And yesterday, some dumbass got a wild hair up his ass, and he drove to the church armed in camouflage, apparently with a tactical vest on. Originally, it sounded like they were saying he was wearing body armor, but that hasn't been clarified yet, so we'll see. Dude was driving erratically. Apparently, he like swerved into the parking lot. That drew the attention of some onlookers, some people out in the parking lot. Gets out of his vehicle, starts advancing on the church, firing as he's advancing. A churchgoer in a parking lot used his F-150 as a weapon, and bam, knocked that dude down. Hit him with his truck. Guy's probably from Texas, and be honest with you, Texas or Tennessee, we hit people with trucks all the time. It's just, part of the deal. And so by that time, the church security officers, now these are volunteers. These are members of the church who go armed voluntarily to protect the other churchgoers. The church security engaged that individual, lit him up, and put him down. For their trouble, one of the church security staff or church member got hit in the leg, non-life threatening, doing fine. And that was the end of it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of it. No more threat. Inside the church, I don't know whether this was practiced or if these folks, I shouldn't say young folks, these folks knew what to do, but they heard the shots. They had everybody stood up, was not panicked, was panicked a little bit, but not running around aimlessly. They said, hey, get over here. We're going out this door. It was great. It was exactly what you would expect to happen in reality versus what the news tries to tell us. Now, the news is spinning this a little bit by saying that the if you just read the headlines in the first paragraph, it sounds like that the churchgoers were assisting police officers in putting this guy down rather than the police officers doing it. Now, the problem, yes, apparently he has a manifesto. Mullet Baby, have you actually seen? I would love a link to the manifesto. So, if you've got a link to it, give it to one of the mods over in Discord or something. Trump is a peacemaker. How many pieces did he make? That's funny. That's pretty good. I like that a lot. That's cool. Again, armed citizens took care of it. No, peacemaker. He made pieces from bigger pieces. See, peacemaker. Yeah. So I find this as to be an example of how things ought to be. Right? You ought, or my opinion, you are. Where's CloverTac at? You are responsible for your own self-protection. Nobody should count on somebody like, say, the police to come and save your dumbass. People will stop attacking places of worship, schools, and etc. when the most likely outcome is they catch a bunch of bullets before they even get to the front door. Just the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. Just the way it is. Do you know why nobody rolls up on a gun shop and tries on? You never hear about an armed robbery in a gun shop. You know why? Because every staff member is armed, right? You don't hear of anybody trying to commit armed robbery at a gun show. Probably a bad idea no matter what. Chairman of the board says Biden ended the Afghanistan war. No, he didn't. And Trump is starting a new one. He ran on not getting us into wars. He's a big fat liar, and it's not the normal Trump lies now. He's acting like the establishment. I guess I don't agree with you on that, Anson. Biden didn't get us out of shit. He didn't get us shit. He left them a bunch of our equipment so that they were better able to. He is rage baiting. He left a bunch of equipment, that's for sure. He left. He emboldened everyone in the area. I got to be honest with you. If that were true, Anson, October 7th wouldn't have happened. Right? I'm just saying. Yeah. Ghost Eagle Guardian, good to see you. That's my man, Ghost 1978. I like the new duds. It's pretty cool. Did everybody bail? We lost it says is this thing accurate? Because it says I got like 10 people in here. That's wild. We had like 15 people bail. What's up? I do like this. I like this thing that happened in Michigan, though. We could stop talking about the Middle East. I don't give a shit about the Middle East. But this thing in Michigan, man, I'm telling you, it's the way things ought to go. It just is. An armed society is a polite society. Just is that way. Debate on Project VO-Pod. Let's see what's going on over on VO-Pod. I hadn't even looked at VO-Pod today. Let's see what's up. Let us see what is up. What is up? Yeah, we had like 25 people in. Oh, Glenn Lawrence is on too. I don't see Jake from VO Pod. Oh, wait, here we go. Oh, Anson's there. All right, all right. What are we debating? Morality comes from the basic functions of life. Interesting. Oh, Glenn's been on a while. I'm going to go harass Glenn. Let me see if I can. Let me find how I can do this. Let me Glenn at. How do I do it? That's interesting. Morals don't come from God. Interesting. Let's see. How do I do this? There's Grumple. What's up? Let's see. Let's go do this. And then we'll do. Oh, wait. I gotta do this first. Put this over here. There we go. That.
Do the whole Taiwan thing, but that's kind of a distraction. They want to mine shit out of Siberia, which is
I know.
one of their allies.
I saw a cleaner on there.
But
thank you, appreciate that.
Why do I care? Like this is where I don't get. Like, okay, as you said, like since we're
I've
allies.
been talking to one of a friend of mine who's
Hold on,
no
Grump.
longer with us for quite a while.
Let me get my thought off. I'm trying to get my thought off.
My bad. You interrupted.
This is my thing. Like, Lindsay, I get it that we're allies. I have a lot of friends, right? And if my friends get into a fight, I don't jump into their fight. I stand by and I watch, make sure the fight is, fair.
At this point,
and that they get their ass kicked properly if it's deserving. Now,
let me see if I can get up there.
I'm not going to retaliate because they got their ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be like, okay, well, take your lumps, go home, live the fight another day.
Geopolitically, it doesn't work like that.
Well, why not?
It's supporting terrorism. The analogy doesn't work either. Try to kill U.S. personnel in the Middle East.
Israel is.
I don't think you can divest the connection between them and us bombing them.
Sorry, just got back. Her name is Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany. But also, Iran has both no air assets and no anti-air assets currently, as far as
real quick, gentlemen. Pause for the cause. Pause for the cause. I want to welcome my friend Grid One Motorsports to the show, as well as welcome back POD. Because I yelled at him enough to get him back on the channel.
Like I said, I'm not going to mow the grass, I guess. But
so, Grid, we're talking about Iran, America getting involved in some bullshit. Now we got them shooting missiles at our bases. Like, was it wise? Why did we even drop bombs on Iran? Why don't we just let Israel handle their own problems?
I mean.
What?
Go ahead.
I was just talking about this.
Can you turn up your mic a little bit, Grid? Sorry.
You're super low, Grid.
Is it really? It's super loud everywhere.
Actually, it can.
Hang on. Let me.
Glenn, can you turn it? Can you turn him up on the? Just on the.
I did. I did.
Yeah, is that better?
Much better.
It's you're on par right now. Please continue.
We're good.
All right.
Also, good morning, Grid.
Hey, morning.
Nerd.
How's it going?
Good afternoon. Living a dream, man.
Cool. Yeah,
I've got this to back over. I was saying hi.
And I actually was just talking about this, and Anson Knowles was trying to troll me. I know where I stand on this, but I don't know where everybody else stands. So I'm assuming that Lindsay is like, don't bomb these poor people. They don't know what they're doing.
I didn't say that. That's Glenn's position.
Glenn's position is don't bomb these poor people.
No, I never said what you're saying.
First of all, I never said Iran is poor people.
Glenn's position is just that he doesn't find it to be our conflict, and we are supporting Israel and their conflict, and we should stay.
I realize that you think that I'm extremely.
It is our conflict.
Okay, forget it.
Yeah,
that's what I bombed them a long ass time ago and stopped waiting for Israel to start a fight to bomb them.
Well, this is a little bit of history that we have to go into, right? So if we, and again, I was just talking about this, so it's all really fresh. So without going all the way back to the 50s and the CIA taking out the Ayatollah, or not the Ayatollah, the president, and installing Ayatollah because they were afraid that Iran was going to go communist, which is that's what they always think. That's why we have so many problems in that area.
It's not really what happened.
What happened?
The Shah was already. It wasn't the Ayatollah. First of all, it was the Shah. The Shah was already the leader. The president, can't remember his name, but it starts with the M right now.
Yeah.
He was voted in as like under the Shah. I don't know, prime minister, president, whatever they call it. And then, yeah, what she said. He was the one that MI5 or MI6 or whatever.
CIA assassinated.
What'd you say?
Khomeini came to power after.
Yeah, but that's 1979. That's way after.
President, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's way after. The Shah was there then.
But the Shah was the spiritual leader. The president was the political leader. The Shah was second to the president.
No, the leader of Iran was the Shah, Reza, if I'm not mistaken, Shah.
Isn't that like some form of monarchy, right?
And more or less, I'm not an expert on it, so I can't say. But he was a leader anyway. More of the story is he was a leader. Other dude that starts with an M that she just said I can't pronounce. I think he was put into power he was put into power somehow. I can't remember exactly, or he was just still below the Shah but taken out. Then the Shah came back and was in power from like 54, 56 or something like that until 79. And then 79 is what you're talking about with the Ayatollah coming in when during the Islamic Revolution.
48,
Revolution.
9, 50, and 51.
Yeah, but you keep on saying the Ayatollah, and Ayatollah wasn't there.
I didn't say anything about the Ayatollah.
I did.
I specifically said the CIA
took out the Ayatollah,
assassinated the president of Iran, and installed the mullah because the mullah believe.
Yeah, you definitely said Ayatollah.
Well, then I misspoke.
Okay,
I didn't know.
He was the leader.
Rock and roller right now.
The Shah that was quote unquote installed was already the leader prior to that.
Right. So the CIA.
It wasn't like he was some random person that they just randomly put in. Is the point?
Did they or did they not assassinate the president? And did that not?
You're making
what was accomplished was the removal of the progressive president. Iran was a progressive country at that point in time. If you look back in the 50s, late 40s, 50s, even a little bit after the assassination, Baghdad, for example,
Paris of the Middle East, right?
Because of the Shah.
It was the Paris.
The stuff that you're talking about is because of the Shah.
Massively awesome country. It was arguably
the progressiveness you're talking about is because of the Shah.
Okay. I don't believe that. I'll look again.
Okay.
But that's not. I think that there's a version of history where that may be represented, but I don't. That's not the version of history as far as the CIA is concerned, because the CIA did not want the president was propped up by the USSR at the time. They were giving him money. They were supporting him. He was taking it. Now his concern mostly was getting Russian technology and backing to drill for more oil.
I don't mean to be rude, but I mean, what does this have to do with the current hostilities?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Well,
I mean,
I said it was a lot of history. So we created the problem in the Middle East. We've been fighting in the Middle East for 70 fucking years. Part of that, at the end, at what was supposed to be one of the endpoints, was Iran agreed to not build or attempt to build nuclear weapons.
They signed the Non-Proliferation Act. Right?
Sorry,
it's like an international. They said they signed the Non-Proliferation.
They signed several treaties.
The nuclear.
They agreed to not smoke indoors.
I'm still smoking.
Not the nuclear
that's the
proliferation
French.
treaty.
Oh, my bad.
Signed, and they and that was that was supposed to be good. That was supposed to be fine. But they never actually adhered to it. They constantly, because the mullahs they don't believe that it's a big deal to break an agreement with someone that's not a non-believer. And so we end up where we're at now. Now back in Bush, they managed to uncover that they were in fact attempting to build nuclear weapons. And they had some of the money, it was about $6 billion, as I recall, was seized effectively by the U.S. Now, at various times, that has been represented in the press as an aid package, but it wasn't. It was technically always Iran's money that was caught outside of their borders, where they were selling oil, despite the embargo, to fund their nuclear program. And the U.S. seized it as we do.
Can I interject here? I want to add something
to
that. I'm with you so far, but I did want to add kind of Glenn's question is, why do we have to get involved in everything? We don't, but it's been our presidents prior to the current president we had. We're not going to touch it. We're not going to touch this issue. So we let it go, and we let it go, and we let it go.
And you're right. That they could just keep kicking the can. Bush did seize the money. Bush was trying to,
and then Barack Obama turned around and gave it back to him.
Well, partially. Biden
a lot more there,
right? Yes, you're correct.
I mean, I'm sure there is.
So Trump is the real muckraker.
What I'm getting to, though, is that the current situation that we're in is that an Islamic regime which hates America, hates the West, hates Israel, it potentially has nuclear weapons. But I don't think they should have nuclear weapons. I think we should do everything that in our power to stop that from happening. But I haven't seen what prompted this attack. I haven't seen what changed the fog of war, the situation on the ground that said that it was okay for Trump to send B-2s over there to drop 14 bunker busters on 2 nuclear sites in Iran.
So I think the reason that one of the reasons that Trump was always on kind of the edge of this and is kind of trying to balancing on a knife edge is he or his advisors did not want to believe that Iran was actually enriching nuclear materials to weapon limit. They weren't I think for a long time we've not wanted to believe that they were capable, and because we have said, if you go back and look at the news reports, well, they're not capable of creating weapons grade nuclear material.
I don't think the weapons grade nuclear material was in question in so far as having a delivery system.
No, Lindsay dropped. But no, I think it has been. I think it's been in question a long time.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard came out 2 months ago and testified to Congress that said we know that they're producing more plutonium than they need,
right?
And that's probably weapons grade shit. But we don't think they're developing a nuclear weapon, according to the intel that we've been able to gather. Right. It's not been weaponized. So the problem there is what economic influence, right? They can sell that shit to China, they can sell it to Pakistan, they can sell it to Russia, for them to continue to develop nuclear weapons. I agree, that's a problem, but that's not let's send in the B-2 bombers to blow some shit up kind of problem.
It kind of is though, right? Like if so, all right. Let's just say that it is like WMDs in Kuwait, right? And let's just say it's that same kind of thing. Like it's kind of there, but it's not really there, and it's not really what we're being told it is. Let's just say it's that kind of thing. Even if so, we know that there is weapons grade material there. Whether or not Iran intends to build one today or not is irrelevant. The fact that they can build it, and the mullahs are extremists, and they will attack various people that shouldn't be attacked. And I'm not even worried. I'm less worried about America. I'm more worried about backpack nukes going off in downtown New Delhi, or going off in Paris, or somewhere like that. Somewhere that doesn't have that ability, right? So I'm far more interested in preventing on a worldwide stage Iran from having this ability, this capability. And further, I think you're right, EOD. The thing is Iran would sell that material to other countries, and now China already has that. China wouldn't be a buyer, but let's say
North Korea might be.
South Korea, North Korea, a lot of African warlords. I mean, just think about some guy down in like I can't think, Ghana or whatever.
Don't got the money.
Sure, Libya. But to
answer your question, EOD, or at least from one perspective, there's probably multiple that can be answered on as to why now and not before. I think you and what's the host name? Glenn. Yeah,
I don't.
I think you both can ask a question.
I don't know who you are.
Me?
Yeah.
Random independent.
Random independent. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard of it.
You can look at it kind of similar to North Korea. North Korea right now has a lot of artillery, has a lot of retaliation it can do to Seoul, essentially. So why don't we take them out, even though they are a rogue regime that has nuclear weapons? Well, that's a reason we don't. With Iran, we believe that they had the retaliation possible for to retaliate against our personnel and against Israel or our allies in the region, generally speaking. And now we don't believe they have that capability anymore, because Israel has pretty much taken them out. So if South Korea had done a similar operation against North Korea and taken out all the artillery and taken out all the leadership and all these things, and there wasn't really a repercussion for us destroying their nuclear weapons or the nuclear facilities, then we could do it. But we don't do it because of those retaliation measures that could be put in place, and we obviously didn't believe that Iran would do so, and so we struck. And so that's one perspective to look at it. There's others as well, but that's one
opportunity, right?
Opportunity. Yeah.
I mean, it really was.
Pete Hegseth said that almost verbatim.
I don't like to be compared to the bums, but even a broken clock is right once or twice a day. So
EOD, you're really low as well. Can you? I think you're just far away from your microphone. There you go.
That could be it.
But at any rate, it's very interesting to me because North Korea is an excellent example, right? Like North Korea, I think one of the reasons why we don't really go after North Korea is because most of the stuff North Korea they got from Russia, and we don't know. We don't truly know everything they have. Right, like we think I'm sure that some CIA guy, NSA guy, mostly. some agency guy has a list, right? But
they've threatened cities on the West Coast. They've demonstrated ICBMs that will fly out into the middle of the Pacific Ocean and appear to have the range capabilities to get there. But so I think the fact that they are a proven nuclear power and they are a deterrent is a deterrence for us. Yeah, I think.
But they're a retarded nuclear power. They're like the little brother with the controller unplugged nuclear power.
My button works, said Trump.
If I could put it that way.
The thing about it, Matt Gaetz had a great fucking talking point about this earlier, and I think it was Thomas Massey who brought my attention to, or somebody, just one of the memers, I don't know. But what was it that Matt was saying? Was that this is instead of going to war, instead of sending B-2s or sending out B-52s to bomb North Korea, Trump went in there and found a diplomatic solution instead. Why can't he do the same thing with Iran? And then Gaetz' proposal at the end is if we can get Iran to denuclearize and we can get Israel to denuclearize, and that would probably win him the Nobel Peace Prize. Like that's a much better outcome, in my opinion, than another endless 30-year war on boots on the ground in fucking Iran.
Iran's never. Iran since like probably 1960 has not upheld a treaty for any length of time. So it's Iran's one of the few countries in the world where I would say that I wouldn't trust anything they say. They're really not a unified country anyway, right? So if he makes a treaty with whoever is, thank
you, Greg, but he used you a lot earlier when somebody was saying, "Oh, we had it was actually Ryan, the coder guy." Saying, "Oh, we had this treaty and it was all this greatness with Iran because we had all these inspections and because that involves trusting Iran to uphill.
And the thing is, Iran's not a unified country, right? Like you have.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, sir.
Oh, that's okay. Sorry.
This is a callback to something that happened earlier, and
it's cool, man. But hey, I mean, can we all agree first that Iran is not a unified country where you are going to have an effective treaty with? Can we agree on that?
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
We can't have a treaty with Iran. One of the reasons
because they're not they're not a unified country. They're a bunch of
most of the Middle East is like that,
right? Which is why we need to get out of the Middle East.
That's why I say we have no business in there in the first place.
Because of England. I'm sorry, Glenn. I interrupted you. My bad.
I'm just saying that's why I say we have no business fucking fighting other people's fights in the first place.
Well, but we're not fighting another person's fight. We took a measure of opportunity. See, this
was summoned
bullshit, though. This is that kind of bullshit. Is that people say we're fighting Israel's fight? No, we took an opportunity. Israel knocked out most of their ability to do nuclear weapons. Okay, cool. We now have, and they have. Iran has no air force. The rockets are crappy right now, so it's like
they have no air assets and no air defense assets currently.
Right. It's like you couldn't ask for a better window to make shit happen, right? Like this is like, let's make it happen right now. Like tactically, just thinking tactically alone, I'd 100% done it. And I'm a non-intervention. I am a non-interventionist. Like I think we ought to just get the fuck out altogether.
Except not right.
I think we ought to get out of the Middle East.
I'm non-intervention, but I'm also I'm just
when we bomb
personally very aggressive. What do you got, Ryan?
Okay,
good.
So I just want to point out Grumple's complete hilarious misrepresentation of me regarding the Iran nuclear deal.
Was it a misrepresentation?
Yeah, it was absolutely. Oh, everything was perfect. Everything was fine. There were no problems. Like all this bullshit. Like what I said about the Iran nuclear deal.
I misrepresented it. Okay.
Yeah, cartoonishly.
No, what I said about the Iran nuclear deal. Your case now.
I'm trying to. If you'll shut up. Okay, so regarding the Iran nuclear deal. Okay. So regarding the Iran nuclear deal, what we did have was 24/7 camera access, as well as other inspective measures to at least to all of the major nuclear sites, right? In Iran.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Prove it.
Yes.
Prove that.
What do you mean prove it?
Prove it. People have said that, but nobody's sent. Literally nobody. Everybody says this, but there's no proof of that at all. Like none. Zero.
Ryan, this was the exact same pushback that I had on you. Just I just let you roll with it rather than going that deep.
What do you mean? Prove what? Be more specific. Be more specific. Prove
where
part.
is,
they're not trustworthy at all.
CIA report or the NSA report or the DIA report that says we have 24/7 video access to nuclear facilities in Iran.
Okay. I mean, I don't know about like those specific report, but I mean, this is absolutely like what the case was with the Iran nuclear deal that Trump pulled out of. You understand that, right?
So it was on the.
You just have no idea. You just don't know anything about the Iran nuclear deal. Is that what you're telling me?
Hold on. What you're saying is a deal that never happened had that in it. What do you mean a deal that never happened? Access to their facilities. By the way, they're not a unified country, and so any treaty that you make doesn't hold water. It's bullshit. It isn't worth the
according to Grid's feelings
that it's written on.
Prove it. Prove that no deal with them matters. Prove it.
Show us an example.
I will
Prove that no treaty matters.
I will challenge you to find one treaty they've upheld.
Yeah.
One.
The Iran nuclear deal they were upholding.
No, they were not.
That didn't.
By what evidence? Prove they weren't upholding it. Demonstrate that.
Literally, Tulsi Gabbard testified before Congress that they had enriched nuclear material to weapons grade.
When did she say that?
A week ago.
Yeah, a week ago. Yeah. So 7 years after Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, dude. 7 years after.
We didn't bomb them 7 years ago, fucker. We bombed them yesterday.
No shit. No shit, dude. I'm telling you that I'm asking you to provide evidence. Hang on, dude. I'll let you go in a second. I promise.
You need to form a coherent argument.
I am being very coherent here. I'm being very clear.
No, you're not.
I'm being extreme. If you'll shut up again, I'll explain again.
You're trying to back.
I'm being very, very clear.
Timeline.
No,
and I'm saying that they've never.
No, you are bastardizing the timeline.
I'm not.
Okay. What I just said is that the Iran nuclear deal, which Trump pulled out of in 2018, gave us because he's a fucking moron.
No, he's not.
Creating money.
He is. He's a fucking idiot. He doesn't care about Americans. He doesn't care about our country. He hates his country.
He hates everybody, just like everybody you don't like, right?
Why?
No, just
what
Trump.
was the stated reason that Trump pulled out of the Iran nuclear?
Because it was the worst deal ever. It was the stupidest deal. It was got nothing from it, except for access.
Nothing. It's
except for inspected access and camera access to the nuclear
sites. Did we get that though?
Yes, we did. Yes, we had that. Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Did we get access to the sites that we just bombed?
Yes.
No.
Some of them, at least. I'm pretty sure some of them.
No, the three sites that we just bombed.
Yes, no, maybe some of them. I don't know. Maybe.
I think so. I think so. I think so. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say.
We had access to the sites that we just bombed.
But you guys don't know either, so I don't know. Like, don't act like I'm fucking stupid.
No, we didn't. I'm saying we didn't. I think everybody else is here saying we didn't have access to those.
Grid didn't even know when the deal ended. Grid thought this deal was still going on a week ago.
I know we don't. We've never.
He just said they were violating it. His example of how they were violating it was Tulsi Gabbard a week ago.
No, I said that
bang Tulsi Gabbard.
They were under an agreement for a while now to not produce nuclear weapons grade material. It's why they got the $6 billion back under a Biden and
with who?
Biden, Obama.
Who they have that agreement with? Okay. Who they have that agreement with?
I got this for you.
I'm sorry. What?
Okay.
Who did they have that agreement with?
I'm sorry. I was trying to listen to Rumple. He said
an aggregate of 3,000 calendar days in Iran, installing seals and collecting surveillance camera photos, not video, measurement data, and documents for further analysis. In March 2018, Director.
Sorry, you're just talking. It's very low.
Yeah,
said that the organization that verified that Iran is implementing its nuclear-related commitments. On April 30th, the U.S. and Israel said that Iran had not disclosed past covert nuclear weapons programs to the IAEA as required. That's why Trump pulled out in 2018. They were not fulfilling their end of the bargain. They broke the treaty first, then Trump pulled out. This is very.
I don't think anybody actually heard what you were saying. It was very low.
Yeah, and can you post it in the back also?
Can you dump up yours and maybe Glenn help out?
You are just deaf. Is this better?
No, you're just not on par. I mean, you're not incorrect. Yes, I am mostly deaf, but you're not on par voice-wise, vocal, with volume level with everybody else on the panel right now. It's super weird because usually yours is just you're good to go.
Now I should be clipping my fucking input mechanism. Is this better?
Not tremendously.
So EOD, why don't you hover your mouse real quick, Grid. EOD, why don't you hover your mouse over that covert nuclear weapons program that you're referring to? Hover your mouse over that Wikipedia, that link.
Ryan, if you have a point, just fucking say it, brother. I don't care for bullshit
AMAD
rhetorics.
project is an Iranian scientific project started in 1989 and stopped in 2003.
Yeah, so they did not disclose that to the IAEA as was required, and so Trump pulled out of the agreement.
Just back off from your mic, just a couple inches, and you'll be good to go.
Okay.
So they didn't disclose something that they hadn't used since 2003, and so Trump pulled out of the agreement 15 years later.
because it was part of the agreement. They didn't honor their end of the agreement. Just as Iran always breaks shit.
So you realize that's fucking stupid, right?
Yeah.
Well, you wanted to know why he pulled out. That's why he pulled out.
No, that was just a bullshit excuse.
Now we know how stupid it was.
Well, he didn't want to agree to the treaty before he was even president, before he found out any of that information. So don't use that. That's just looking for an excuse for a conclusion you already came to.
Yeah, dude. Again, you cannot point to any deal since about 1960 that Iran has held to. They always break every single treaty they enacted, which is why nobody makes treaties with them. Nobody wants to deal with Iran. They're not a real country. They're a bunch of tribes that run around and kill people. It's what they do. They've been doing it for 10,000 years. They'll be doing it for 10,000 more. Just get
a bunch of tribes that, Persia was a pretty, crazy, awesome empire, right? Like,
yeah, right. And you know what? And agreed. They have
just a couple of tribes that run around and
they have had periods of history where they were badass. Again, from about 1940 until about 1950, they were considered the Paris of the Middle East. They had, you should see pictures from. They had like water features. They had women wearing normal clothes for the time period. It was.
You can see women wearing normal clothes in Iran right now. By the way.
Wait, are you defending Iran?
What do you mean defending? I'm defending not fucking going to war with Iran. Yes.
Okay, but you said you can see them wearing normal clothes now. Like, are you saying that the regime over there is not oppressive?
No, I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if you were just throwing that.
But I'm not going to sit here and pretend that going to war with Iran is some feminist like iconic move.
Well, who's going to war?
Nobody said that.
Striking Iran is literally an act of war.
Okay, and so is them paying off and supporting and directing and funding and all this stuff, these terrorist organizations to attack Iraq or military personnel in Iraq and other places, is that an act of war?
Are funding
that's the question to you.
Rockets that are
is that paying, funding, directing, etc. Giving military weapons and aid and stuff to these terrorist organizations in Iraq and other places to kill U.S. personnel, is that an act of war?
You're saying that's what Iran's doing?
100%. I'm saying that's what it is. Let's just say, hypothetically, let's just say it is. Let's say that is what they're doing.
So you're saying that Iran's
just it is what they're doing.
So now you're agreeing there's a war. You're agreeing there's a war. You're just saying
I didn't agree there's a war. I'm asking you if that were the case, is that an act of war? It's just a yes or no question.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so if we use proxies to attack Iran, it's not an act of war.
I don't know if it is. I don't know. I don't know if funding. I don't know if funding money or funding organizations that then use
arms, directing them as well.
All right. Let me ask you.
You don't understand it 100% is, but there's not. It's not going to be war if there's no retaliation that can happen.
So
it's just taking care of business.
Yeah, I have to
basically disciplining a child. Essentially, is what's happening. They have no air assets, and they have no defense. Air defense, and they have no from ground to air defense assets at all. It's literally just spanking a child at this point. It's not like war, even though it technically is an act of war.
Children, it's a fucking country, dude.
Right,
not children. Stop doing the analogies with the game control and shit.
I want an honest.
It's essentially spanking a child.
It's not like spanking a child. It's like bombing a country.
Right.
Okay. It's not like spanking a fucking child.
Literally,
but we bombed
Stop
the nuclear.
Acting like a child. Stop talking about this like it's a bunch of kids.
Grumple, give me
just to be clear, we're bombing the nuclear facility.
Why are you policing my language? Why are you being so racist?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Grumple, let me
stop policing my language. Don't tell me I can't describe it like that.
You can say whatever you want, and I'm going to call you fucking stupid for it.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan. If a country has signed agreements, treaties, has outright stated that they're not pursuing nuclear weapons or trying to enrich uranium to the point that they can have nuclear weapons, and yet they have uranium that's enriched to that much, and they're also they're kind of tiptoeing the line, this gray area. And then you bomb their only nuclear facility that can do that. Who was in the wrong in that situation?
Okay, so I'm looking at. I have an article right here from it's about like, is Iran as close to building a nuclear weapon as not Yahoo claims, blah blah blah, and it's talking about like Trump pulling out of the nuclear agreement. And
we're just talking about what we don't have to talk about.
I know what you're. I'm just saying from the Iranian perspective. All of these steps were permissible countermeasures to Trump's 2018 withdrawal from the nuclear deal. So if all the things that they're doing, are actually totally permissible after that deal ended.
Hold on. But we know it's. But hold on, we don't have to go. You realize that this issue isn't just 2018 onwards. I'm not a fan of Trump. I don't like him at all. I think he's a bum. I think the dude said that Hexeth said something similar. Hexeth is a bum. Please don't ever say that one of them said something I said. I probably said it first and had much more logic behind it. Christopher Hitchens
briefing about the attack, man.
Yeah, and he was reading off of Truth Social because he doesn't actually get any information. Whatever. Anyway, Christopher Hitchens, R.I.P. a goat, talked about Iran for a very long time and talked about them breaking. And he's obviously not the only one, but someone that I watched a lot of. He talked about Iran breaking treaties a lot. He passed away in 2012 or 2014 or 2010. So you're talking about a deal in 2018.
Did they break the nuclear deal?
Yes.
Not the one that Obama made because he wasn't alive when Obama made that deal. But we're talking about the other treaties.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking if they broke that specific Iran agreement. If that's why Trump pulled out, because I don't think they broke.
But that's my point. Is that I'm not just talking about that. And you're like, well, Trump pulled out of here because I agree that the reason that Trump pulled out that deal was dumb. What he brought up about 2003 was dumb.
Let me be more clear. What I'm alleging is that if Trump had not pulled out of this agreement,
hold on. I'll be quick. I want to hear you.
If Trump had not pulled out of this agreement, then Iran would not have done the specific things that they were doing.
This is why you're
now bombing them.
Ryan,
so let's take this treaty. Let's take this treaty. Why would they follow this treaty but not the other ones?
Ryan, they had been. Is what I'm telling you.
They've been breaking treaties. They've been breaking treaties.
It didn't break this one.
Yes, but they did. But hold on.
How?
How long did they have between the time this treaty was made and time that the U.S. pulled out? And because I don't know, when was the Iran nuclear deal signed? Europe, if I'm not mistaken, the EU also signed on to this treaty. So the treaty was still in play, just not on the U.S. side.
The Atomic Energy Agency. It's mainly supported by the United States, but a lot of European countries as well.
You're really low again, EOD.
I don't know what to do about that.
The treaty was not only the U.S. and Iran, if I'm not mistaken, it was also the EU and Iran. So even if the U.S. pulled out, and then you're saying, well, the U.S. pulled out, that's why they should be doing all these other things. They still had the treaty. So they broke that treaty too.
Well, I don't know if that's true either, but.
Hi, I have to interrupt. Glenn has somewhere to be in a little bit, and I need to remind him of it. I need to kind of think about shuffling you guys off to maybe grid stream.
Oh shit! The boss came in.
Yeah, Ryan. I think that you're trying to work facts to fit what you've already decided. You've already made.
I don't feel like I'm doing that. I feel like I'm trying to understand what happened.
No, you're not.
And from my perspective, what it looks like. Okay, well, don't assert that I'm not trying to understand.
Ryan, shut the fuck up and listen.
No, you shut the fuck up, bitch. No, I'm not. No, I don't actually. No, Grid, I'm not your fucking bitch. Okay, listen.
But you are my bitch right now.
I'm absolutely not, and that's why I'm talking over to you because I don't give a fuck.
Listen, just like a bitch. You can't.
Hey, man, are we gonna have? We was doing good. It's all good. If Ryan says he's trying to understand, he's trying to understand. It's all good. Yeah. You whether you want to call it misspeaking or ignorant of the facts, said the U.S. overthrew the Ayatollah in the 50s and the Ayatollah regime exists. So let's relax on the condemnation.
Yeah, and I made him, and I said that I misspoke. However,
then you also switched over to the mullahs, and the Shah wasn't a mullah either.
Right, but the Shah wasn't the guy who was the problem.
What do you mean? He was the leader of He was the leader of Iran.
He was.
Iran. You yourself said that after the Islamic Revolution, the Ayatollah took. Is my microphone better now?
Yeah, it's good.
Better.
Okay.
Yeah,
great. It's a different browser. It helps a lot. StreamYard being in the browser is a pain in the ass. Anyway, what am I saying? Is you yourself said that the Islamic Revolution led to the Ayatollah taking control of Iran. The real problem with Iran is that it's being run by an Islamist regime. What Grid was trying to point out is that the United States used the CIA to influence elections leadership in Iran previously, and that's
well, they straight up assassinated the president of Iran.
Sure. It's something we do all over the world. It's not good.
We're ready to do it again.
We stir the pot and fucking you're right. They're pushing for regime change, and that's going to take boots on the ground. This is why I'm opposed to it. Now I don't want Iran to have a fucking nuclear weapon. It's definitely not good. But I still haven't seen the evidence that brought on this attack or changed the situation in any way from before, where it was a bit of a stalemate. One of the articles I just posted in the back was syndicated by MSN, shows the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency that we mostly support, that does our bidding for us for the most part, and most of Europe really agrees with, is saying that Iran was developing nuclear or weapons-grade plutonium. We've already discussed why this is a problem in a lot of ways, because they could sell it to other people that could eventually develop a nuclear weapon, and they've been very outspoken about destroying the Western fucking world. It's not cool. And we've already been over this, Brian, is that they don't follow their agreements, and it's been historically proven true several times time again.
So EOD, what's your position? Like, what do you think about the strikes? What do you think about what's happening?
I want to see the evidence that changed the situation. I haven't seen it yet. If they have something that's compelling, that might convince me that this was necessary. If not, then we're just getting engaged in another foreign war. And there's a lot of theories as to why that Trump might have kowtowed on that, but all of that's just tinfoil hat conspiracy shit.
Well, you know, his ego. He just goes wherever his ego takes him. Let's just be real here.
Well, one of the things that I think might be happening, okay, is that the neocons in the Senate are holding up his legislation. There are 4 bills
But come on, man. Why did you vote for Trump? Did you vote for Trump?
That's not relevant to what I'm talking about.
I'm asking. It's a simple question. No, real quick. Did you vote for Trump?
I'll answer it.
Okay, yeah, okay. You did. And it's obvious when someone votes for Trump.
When I finish what I'm talking about.
It's obvious when someone votes for Trump because they find a way to absolve him of any type of responsibility.
If you give us this war,
they absolve themselves of any type of responsibility.
If you give us this war on Iran.
Let him. You asked him a question. Let EOD answer the question.
I didn't ask him. I asked him if he voted for Trump. That's the only question I asked him.
Yeah, you asked him a question.
I'm trying to make a point.
And he's yapping about some other stuff.
If I can get to my point, I'll answer your question.
I'm just tired of Trump supporters always finding a way to get to scurry out of finding the responsibility for what Trump did.
Don't know how to fucking wait.
That's fine. Trump. You should vote for me. Trump does it all the time, so you should be willing to vote for me.
Cope harder, you piece of shit.
Y'all vote for someone that does this and then complain when it happens.
Here's the situation. Okay, you got 4 neocons. You got 4 bills.
Nobody can hear anything.
Yeah.
No, there's no talking over me. Don't even start. One at a time. Keep it together. Let's be adults.
If I can finish what I was trying to say. He's got 4 bills held up in the Senate right now. The neocons come to him and say, give us this war in Iran, and we'll start cooperating and give you the bills. That's one way to explain why Trump would suddenly fucking flip on this. He promised us no new wars. That was fucking insane that he's doing this now. It confuses the piss out of me. But like I say, if they got compelling evidence, I might be convinced that it was necessary. Yes, I did, in fact, vote for Trump. Independent. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, it's just weird. Every single time I got to hear Trump voters, oh, I don't know why he would do this, as if he doesn't have a history of being a con man. It's like dealing with retards, respectfully. Like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but it really is. He is a known con man. He is a known con man. You're a grown ass man, and you're like, I don't know why he would flip on this. He's a fucking con man. He's been a con man for decades, and you guys are confused about how he started to con you and how you fell for a con from a con man that's been documented a con man for decades.
No, I love.
And then you find and then instead of you want to talk or you want to let me talk, because you just complained when I did it to him.
I thought you were
done. All right, so that's great. I know I'm not done talking. I'll let you know. You complain about me doing it, and then you do it. It's all good. So
no, I didn't.
I am kind of an asshole. I am kind of an asshole. At the end of the day, you vote for Trump, and you never hold him to a standard. You always find a way to let him weasel out of being responsible for what he does. Oh, well, I think he probably did it because, you know, these neocons, they're the real problem. They're doing it in the Senate. It's never, yes, exactly. It's always going, yes, thank you for proving my point.
Why would he campaign on it if he wasn't going to hold it?
Do you want to talk? It's always finding a way to weasel him out of responsibility. And you're proving the point. You immediately, instead of the excuse, instead of just going, you know what? It's because he's a con man. It's because he's always flip-flopping. It's because of X, Y, and Z.
Because I didn't really agree with you. I'm wrong.
You find a way. No, it's because you always, Trump supporters always find a way to blame other people. No, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with me.
Can I?
You don't have to agree with me. Really, I think it was a big ego thing.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
Call the ego going on.
That's fine. But you don't have to always. Every single time we try to hold Trump accountable, you don't have to find ways to weasel him out of that responsibility. He has an agency of his own. You don't have to find ways. Yes, because you keep on interrupting me as I'm. You keep on interrupting me as I'm on my fucking point.
No, who's doing that right here? Who's doing that right here?
Doing which part?
Who's doing that right here? The thing that you just said. Weaseling Trump out of accountability. Who are you accusing?
He was blaming neocons. He was blaming neocons for strong arming Trump.
No, he
yes. Yes, he did. Oh, look, it's like they don't.
Can you see the neocons in the room? Can you point them out?
What's your question?
I'm not down the room,
dude. You weren't
First of all,
following, but
I'm not trying to absolve Trump of blame. I'm saying that maybe this is the way they have leverage over him in the first place. I'm not absolving him of blame. It disappoints me.
You understand how politics work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's so funny because Trump supporters are always like, "Oh, Trump is different. He's not like these other politicians. He's gonna not do these things that these other politicians do." And then he gets into office and he does these things that politicians do. And now it's all of a sudden, hey, you don't know how politics work.
His first term around, he fulfilled most of his campaign promises.
His first time around, almost every single one.
He shouldn't have been flip-flopping. That's fucking me up.
Every thing that Trump did during his first term was not his. It was a Republican conservative platform.
Your position.
So who in the room right now is doing the thing that you said? Great, if I may have a moment.
Grumple.
We went over this, Grumple.
Give me a second.
No, I didn't get an answer from him.
What? So I got to ask.
Who in the room is the neocons that you're talking about? Great, if I may have a moment with him, because he didn't answer.
Are you talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you.
What's your question?
You were making vast, wide accusations. Who in the room is doing the thing that you're saying right now?
He just said who he was. EOD.
Yeah, that's what they're accusing me
So
of. That,
everything that you just said, you were accusing EOD at that time. Is that?
Was anybody else talking that I could have been accusing? I don't know. What am I accusing? And I'll let you know if it's only EOD or if it's a wider
wild
thing.
accusations and didn't have a
That's
target.
you're not following the organization.
I have been. No, I have been.
I said the neocons have the leverage on Trump, and I'm disappointed in that. I'm not trying to absolve Trump of his fucking responsibility in the matter. He should have had more of a spine. He should have held more to his campaign promises.
But why can't it just be that he wanted to do it himself? Why does it have to be neocons or forcing him?
Because he's not a
He
fucking comic book villain, you jackass.
Grid, you're up.
Okay, it's
What
politics.
do you mean
This is why we're asking whether or not you understand what politics are. Grid, what are you trying to say?
Yeah, man. So this is interesting because.
In your mic just cut out.
Hold on.
Yeah, cut it out. One of the two.
Hi, do you
Grid,
agree
your mic
or
is-
disagree
Grid, your volume.
with the strike?
There you go.
Me?
Yeah, do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree with it.
You agree with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So what the fuck is your problem with Trump doing it? It's just because you question his motive?
I never said it. I never
give
said there
a
was
fuck less about Trump's motives.
I never
don't
questioned
care. Matter of
the
fact,
reason he
I
did
don't
it.
remember
I'm
him
questioning
saying I
him.
won't bomb Iran. As a matter of fact, I don't ever remember him saying no new wars this campaign. He said he's going to do his best to keep us out of the Middle East, then clean up the mess that Biden left us with. That's what he said. He never. Now point to me because you made a loud, very loud amount of protest that Trump said something, and now everyone's backing, you're doubling down on it, or whatever the fuck what your point was. I want to know. He never said this, Trump. He never said this campaign, no new wars. He said he was going to try and keep us out of as much of the Middle East as we could. He never said.
So this is a quote. This is a quote from his inauguration speech.
You agree?
Thank you.
Thank
you. Agree that it's
I'm going to quote you from his inauguration speech. It says, "We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end." I'm sorry, Grid. Can I read this or not?
The point.
You don't want to hear it, do you?
You can't see.
No, he
it's
doesn't.
the right motherfucking thing.
You don't want to hear this line from his inauguration speech where he talks about no new wars,
And I don't give a fuck.
Ryan, you didn't let him finish.
Because you're an idiot. I've already labeled you as an idiot. Your opinion is.
Ryan, you were interrupting. You didn't let him finish.
You agree with the action, but you disagree with the person who.
So it says we will measure our success not only by the battles we win.
He's still talking.
If everyone talks, then no one's going to hear it. So we will measure our success not only by the.
I will continue to talk until I am fucking done. So
awesome. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
I'm about to let you fucking speak. I want to understand why you agree with the bombing, but you disagree that Trump is the one who ordered it. Please, in small words that Ryan can understand, please explain it to us.
Did you ask me why? You're asking me why I disagree or why I agree with the strike, but I think that Trump didn't order it?
No. Why you think that Trump was wrong for ordering it? Why you're grilling EOD down there for bullshit? I want to understand this. Use small words. We have Ryan the coder here.
Yeah, I got you.
Computer guys need small words.
Yeah, I think that maybe what I was saying is maybe I wasn't clear or whatnot. But to be clear
a minute ago.
Yeah, and I'm about to be even more clear for people.
Please do.
Yeah.
What do you mean people like him?
I'm
No,
not
it's
grilling
me. For me. You small words for people like me.
Yeah. Well, you guys are, Ken. So it's not.
I eat crayons. What do you do?
I sit in a chair. EOD, is your name EOD because explosive ordnance or?
No.
Oh, okay. But I was grilling him because he's not placing the agency on Trump. He's not saying Trump did this because Trump wanted to. It's, oh, well, I think he's being strong-armed by the neocons, or that's my theory, or that is a theory. And so it's always, Trump didn't do this because that's just who he is. It's, Trump did this because someone else is.
I think it is who he is.
Okay, that's great. But I wasn't talking to you when I was saying it, was I? No, I wasn't. So you wanted me to answer the question. Okay, that's great. So
let him go.
My thing wasn't that Trump did it, or that I don't agree with Trump and I do agree with Trump, but the motives, blah, blah, blah. I agree that he did it. And I agree that I think that he wanted to do it. It's not that neocons strong-armed him into doing it. My issue is that Trump voters, when he does something that they don't like or they don't think that he was going to do, they find a way to blame someone else. And that is what EOD is doing.
That's not what I'm doing. Again,
okay. Everybody except Trump voters understand that's what you guys do.
If I could defend myself, you're telling me what I'm doing. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Okay, I'm
disappointed.
I'm disappointed in Trump for not having more of a spine and not upholding his campaign promises. That's what I'm saying. And there's motivation as to why that might be the case, and that involves the political climate in the United States and the fact that the neocons basically run the fucking Senate. That's what I'm trying to fucking say to you.
But yet when you talk about Obama or Biden,
you've labeled me a Trump sycophant.
You got your time. Let EOD answer you.
You've labeled me a Trump sycophant without even realizing.
Answer you.
Without even realizing that I absolutely criticize this move from Trump. I don't like it in one little bit. I did not serve as explosive ordnance disposal. I served as a medic in the Air Force. I do have friends that have deployed. I have family that deployed, that spent time over in the sandbox. I don't want that to happen again. That's the last fucking thing I want to see happen. And I see it happening in more ways than one based on this current situation and all of the inflammation that's occurred. I condemn Trump for doing it, but there's got to be a reason that he would go back on his campaign promises when he was so consistent in fulfilling those in the first term.
The reason I asked about the EOD thing, not because I was criticizing what your motives might be, was because he said he eats crayons. I said I sit in a chair, and then you kind of chuckled at it. So I thought you got the chair force thing, because I took it to mean that he was a Marine or something. But whatever. Anyway.
Oh no, I am.
Yeah, so that's why I said I sit in a chair. But
I got you. Well, UA Air Force, best force.
Cool.
Yeah, no, EOD's chair force. I'm in the cult.
Yeah, no, I just
really.
I'm just really tired of hearing people anytime that he gets criticized, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Trump. It can be Bernie Sanders or AOC because she's the flavor now. It's just always a reason that something didn't happen, and it's not because of them. It's not because you were bamboozled by this person. It's because someone else exterior to them, or external to them rather, forced them or forced their hand or whatever. And I just dislike that. I think it's a cult thing. Not saying that you are in that cult, but I think that a lot of maggots are in a cult. MAGA is a cult in my opinion, and I think the ones that really support him like that are culties.
Do you think it's beneficial to call them maggots?
I'm not saying it's you. I don't give a fuck whether it's
random
beneficial or
independent.
not.
Do you think it's beneficial to call them maggots in conversation?
I heard the question.
Do you think it's beneficial to call them maggots in conversation?
I answered. I said I don't give a fuck whether it's beneficial or not, because I wasn't calling them. I wasn't calling them that during the first term because it wasn't that big a deal. And, that was the other thing. You brought up the first term. Again, the first term was mostly a conservative agenda, and it was done by conservatives. All these quote unquote establishment people that people like to bitch. Oh, well, Trump, he was being controlled by these establishment people. That's why his first term was so good.
Yeah, I guess
was because it was actual conservative. It was actual conservative ideals with integrity in place.
That's
this
not
term,
true.
you don't.
The Republican Party put up 15 candidates to try to stop Trump from winning the ticket, and they failed. That's what ended up fucking happening. Okay.
We're not talking about. I'm talking about the.
You're talking about the establishment ran the fucking show. They didn't. Trump didn't know what the fuck he was doing.
I'm not talking about establishment members. I'm saying conservatives and people with integrity.
He ended up pulling people out of his.
For example,
General Mattis was a piece of shit in the end of the fucking day, wasn't he?
Okay, you're fucking wild. Anyway, so like I said, these people.
He was not.
Yeah, you're fucking wild to say that shit about General Mattis. But like I said, these people that were his cabinet members were actual conservatives, lifelong Republicans, lifelong conservatives with integrity and with honor. And this term, we don't have that.
John
that's why
Bolton didn't
that's why
have
his
any
first
fucking
term.
honor, dude. Okay,
That's why who didn't have honor?
John fucking Bolton didn't have any fucking honor. Okay,
that wasn't his
weirdo who was Joint Chiefs of Staff didn't have any fucking honor. The people who were hiding military operations, military intel from Trump didn't have any fucking honor. I don't know what the fuck you're getting at.
Okay.
But
So, again,
the whole
we-
cabinet was filled with all kinds of nefarious people.
Yes, and it was filled with all types of these quote unquote nefarious people, and yet shit got done in his first term, and it wasn't because of him. It was because of those quote unquote nefarious people.
No, it wasn't because of the quote unquote nefarious
it's funny.
people.
It's funny you remove them from the equation, and the shit that you're talking about that didn't happen in the first term, that's happening in the second term, is now happening. So you have in the first term those nefarious people, and these things not happening. The second term, you don't have those quote unquote nefarious people, and the shit that you're bitching about is happening. I wonder
You're
what
just
the common
speaking in
denominator
complete
is.
generalities right now. There's
Okay, I
nothing to
wonder what the
support what you're
common
talking about. I'm
denominator
trying to point out individuals within Trump's first campaign that were no good, and these people actually actively worked against Trump's interests and against the things that Trump was trying to accomplish, such as building the fucking wall. How many people stood against Trump and blocked him and every fucking turn to build that fucking wall? That is not the right thing to do at all. What's the situation we're at right now? Is 20 million fucking illegal immigrants spread throughout our country. Man.
So the bullshit 20 million number, but sure, let's take the 20 million number, whatever. The issue was that you guys complain about was Biden, just the asylum process and all these other things, letting people in. Basically, I agreed with Trump's stay in Mexico. Can I finish? I agree with Trump's stay in Mexico. No, I'm not. I'm talking about what you just talked about immigration, so I'm talking about immigration in the wall.
That was one example of things that Trump was blocked on. That's what I'm getting at. And now you want to dive into a deep dive fucking address on fucking immigration. What we're talking about is Iran and the hostilities with fucking Iran.
No, I've been talking about Iran
the consistency of Trump fulfilling campaign promises. That's what I'm brought
up. You brought up the wall and stuff. So
I brought up the things where people block Trump from fulfilling his campaign promises, where he's supposed to be fulfilling his campaign promises. In this term, he's not doing it. That's a bad thing. That's not cool. And it's not because of the people he's surrounding himself with. I don't think that's true at all. It's because of the people that he's trying to find ways to do
who has he surrounded? Who has he surrounded himself by that you think would tell him no?
Well, Pete Hegseth for one. You just called him a piece of shit.
You're fucking with me right now. You're fucking with me.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, ain't no fucking way you just said that goofy shit. You think Pete Hegseth would tell him no?
Tell him no about?
Does anybody else on this panel agree with that?
I think it's
that the Fox News, that the 04 Fox News analyst would tell the president no. He was literally put in that position.
He's also a person who won a Purple Heart. He's also a person with combat experience.
He was put in that position literally because he is a yes man.
A random independent, or is that how you like to be referred to as? Just so I know.
That's cool. Independent. I mean, whatever. Like, is easy.
Okay, independent.
It don't matter.
I think a karaoke stream would be more amenable to chat than what you're doing right now.
I think Random Independent's cooking. I just searched up his channel. I subbed up. Like, I like this guy. I think.
I appreciate it. I don't really post anything.
Ryan, I want to have you on one of my karaoke streams. I don't do.
Oh, you were being serious? What's a karaoke stream?
Yeah.
Oh, like a literal karaoke.
Yeah, like actual.
If you like my voice,
I like to do semi-charmed life karaoke bars.
I mean, it's a good time.
Yeah, it's a safe space. You can say I like my voice, man. No? Okay.
I mean, okay.
You're a Marine.
No, I was saying.
Let's move to final thoughts, guys. I gotta shut it down.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you,
Miss Michelle. Thank you for allowing everything to happen as long as you did. I know you were. I know it was an extended thing on your part.
We'll continue this on my channel. I can yell at people for a little while longer.
I don't know how to raid, but
yeah, I'm
have
not
to have
going
access
live.
to the YouTube channel to do that.
Go to Grid.
Let's see.
Well, I'm live. You could raid me. I'm smaller than Grid is.
Let me. You guys can talk for 5 more minutes.
Oh wait, no. I am.
Go ahead, go through your final thoughts, and I'll figure it out. All right.
Grid is better for the StreamYard.
No, let's go around.
I lied. I'm actually literally live right now, but I'm not like.
You're half asleep right now, brother. You need to get some rest.
No, I'm not. I'm not. Why does everybody keep saying that? No, I'm not.
You look like you were like falling asleep earlier.
You look very relaxed.
Well, thank you.
Oh my goodness.
I have to go another 10 hours.
Let me ask. What does everyone think about just because Iran's Iran? But what does everybody think about the church attempted shooting in Michigan?
I read about that.
Oh, a headline about that.
That's pretty fucked up.
I don't know what. I know he got shot and
You know
killed.
what
Did
happened?
he actually injure anybody?
It's an awesome story. So what happens is this guy, whose mom was a member of the church, and she attended several times over the year. His elderly mother. This guy apparently has some mental problems. For some reason, we're not 100% aware of yet. Maybe he left. Maybe there's some sort of manifesto or something we haven't that's not been made super public yet. I've heard rumblings that it exists. I just haven't seen it. But apparently, he got in his truck dressed in camouflage and a tactical vest. Not really sure what that is. Haven't seen it yet. Yeah, right. Tactical.
That could be a lot of things.
Have the same like. What does that really mean?
He had an AR-15 allegedly,
and a pistol.
It could be a fishing vest.
Handgun.
Yeah, it could have been a fishing vest.
And he tried to shoot up the Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's on Sunday, so Vacation Bible School is through the week. So,
the article.
Yeah, they wouldn't have been there on Sunday. That would have been like normal Sunday.
That would have been like the starting of.
Yeah,
Sunday
the press is getting all this wrong. So there's normal Sunday service. He comes screaming up in his truck, jumps out, gun out, starts popping shots off. There's not even anybody out there, and one of the other churchgoers hits him with his truck, drives his F-150 right into him, just
runs him right the fuck over.
Runs him right the fuck over, and the guy gets up and still shooting, and two of the church members who act as security put his ass down. And
they opened fire on him. They had weapons. They opened
around in the leg. He's fine, but it's the way it should.
That was good. It's good shooting. Way to handle business.
Yeah,
right. Well, the other ironic thing about it is it happened at a community that's just outside Dearborn, Michigan, which happens to be the Muslim capital of the United States.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? The church that it happened at Cross Point. I coached at a private Christian school called Cross Point in Washington, and they had a shooting or an attempt at shooting years ago before I got there. What's up with this Cross Point getting shot at, motherfucker? That's not called Crosshairs Church in the Crosshairs.
Well, maybe
maybe
that's what they're
community right outside of Detroit. I mean, it's like Detroit adjacent.
I thought it was Dearborn adjacent.
So just for the record, EOD, I know because you mentioned it's like it's near Dearborn or whatever, and they're a Muslim majority place. This guy was, from what I read, this guy's confirmed to be a 31-year-old white male.
He is.
So probably not a Muslim, right?
No.
George Zimmerman is a white Hispanic. Just
probably not a Muslim.
Relative.
Probably though.
No.
Okay, here, Ryan. I'm gonna tell you the shortcoming of your analysis right here. Okay, it's that police descriptions generally do not actually describe race accurately, unless it's a white person or a black person, right? It's just like George.
Wasn't Wayne?
Yeah.
Okay.
More words.
So
make sure it's very clear.
They're covering for him being an Islamist extremist.
They're not covering for it. They just don't want to specify.
Detroit keeps sticking in my mind.
Okay, you do.
But
all right, guys. Hold on. I'm gonna redirect everybody over to Gridstream because I do got an interview I got to do, recorded interview.
Good luck.
In about a little bit. But Brian, you're supposed to come back over so I can do a one-on-one with you.
Yeah, I followed you on X. Hit me up on there. Yeah. We can schedule.
All right, cool. All right, guys. You know what? Go hang out with my friend Grid One. I got to hang out with them this past weekend. He's a cool dude. Cool dude. We had some food. We had some. Well, he had soda. I had a bucket of alcohol. It was pretty wild. It was good. See, and there's no crazy videos that Grid has of me. I made sure I deleted them all before he even left the area.
I didn't actually. But you can take out my phone to take videos. Glenn had a camera the whole time. The actual video, which hopefully I'll get to see it soon, should be.
Yeah, it's actually getting edited now. She just messaged me about it.
Okay.
So we should probably get it by the end of the week, if anything.
The interesting thing is that so that Aaron Reed dude is massive.
Real quick, we pause before you even finish that. So after everybody left, right? I left. I go get something to eat. Right, and I ended up going to this tiki bar across from the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
There's Aaron Reed with this chick, and then him and I are chatting it up till like 2:30 in the morning. Coolest dude ever. We're just like sitting there. He's drinking. I'm drinking water by this time because I had one drink. That was enough for me. And like
after the bucket you had at the
after the fucking bucket, I had one other drink, and then I'm just sitting there chilling. We're just chatting it up. Got him agreeing to come on the pod. So I'm gonna have Aaron Reed come on the pod, and we are going to do like a fitness challenge.
On the pod, you mean on your show? Like
yes,
on the podcast?
Yes, on my show. And if you guys don't know who Aaron
some
Reed
people
is,
don't know that means I'm one that doesn't know that.
Okay. Grump, shut up.
You know.
Grump, shut up. Aaron Reed is the guy that plays the Juggernaut in the movie Deadpool. So this guy is literally 6'7". He's 315 pounds.
He's 315 pounds.
He's the soccer hooligan from the European Vacation movie?
Grump, let me finish. He's 300
soccer hooligan. Dude. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Continue.
He's 6'7", 315 pounds, 4% body fat. The dude is maybe not 4. He's about like 5-6% body fat. Dude is massive and shredded.
It's huge. That was a big dude.
My neck is hurting just from looking up at him. I thought I was tall.
Yeah.
But
and that got fun. That got fun a lot. You fucker.
That wasn't even me. That was Michelle. She did that.
That's Michelle's favorite clip.
That is her favorite clip.
That is.
Do you mind if I say one thing before we close out?
Yeah, go ahead. Say one more thing. Yeah, go ahead.
It's super short. Yeah. It's just this quote I found. This crazy quote. It says, "We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars that we never get into." That was some guy named Donald J. Trump.
Dude.
Never heard of him, but Spurred by reading a Donald Trump quote. Okay.
You just insist on going back to something that we left a while ago. But,
all right, guys. Well, it's always good to know. Go over to grids.
Yeah.
I'll continue the party there.
Yeah, we can continue paneling for a little while.
What's the new link?
Get there.
An hour.
Yeah.
Well, he's just gonna.
Grid, you want to throw the link in the private chat?
Yeah. Let me do that right now.
I'll stay on it till you do that.
Get my we'll do a smooth.
You guys, I got some video Grid. All right, Grid in his natural habitat of in person, and here, let me just
never seen light.
If this wasn't in the manner of Top Gear, I'm going to be very disappointed.
All I gotta say is Grid is Grid. Don't what you see right now on the screen is what you get in real life. All right.
Oh no! Please continue. I'm just letting Grid because he knows what I'm talking about.
Let me tell you what happened. I was trying to eat my breakfast, mind my own business. I was minding my own business, and this is what happened, you guys. I'll just show you. And you love the hat. I know you do. Shut up. Son of a bitch from Tennessee just showed up, sat at my table, and just started talking some shit. And I was like, "What's your country ass doing out here?" So I'm out here in Florida. I'm doing a Florida thing, and this son of a bitch from Tennessee just showed up, sat at my table, and just started.
I like the vaudeville hat. You look like you're gonna perform for us on stage.
I was about to, but then I didn't get paid enough, so I said I'm not gonna do it.
The straw boater did.
I like how you have
to be honest. That did
Glenn, I like how Glenn, I really like how you have a thumbnail with the 92 FS, just like right, where you're getting like aggressive with it, just right on the thing, and you can't do them in live stream, so it's got to be a pre-recorded thing, right?
Yeah,
like an M9, essentially.
Yeah,
I've read a 92 FS.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Nerd.
All right, guys. Love, peace, greasy chicken. Go to grids.
Cheers, y'all. Thanks for having us, Glenn.
The link is in the back chat if you want to just panel up over here.
Random.
Remember to slap that like button before it ends.
Yeah.
It already ended. It's already over. You guys are done.
Oh,
wait till
We're done.
All right. Cheers.
You need to move.
But if anybody wants to join Grid Stream, go click the private chat. The link is right there. It's the Streamlabs link.
I get to be A over here?
Yeah, you're already here.
No, I'm saying my thing is A instead of I. It's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. No, because it's a first letter.
Yeah, you would think that YouTube would do the same thing.
Well, Streamlabs or StreamYard is a little weird. I used to use StreamYards a lot, but I don't anymore.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, I guess it'd be amongst a bunch of friendly Trump voters.
Trump voters, that's right. There's a lot of
all the maggots that you don't want to fucking talk to, that you
all
don't think you
maggots.
should share air with. Yeah.
No, I think I should share it with you guys. There's plenty of maggots that, outside of politics, they're probably cool. Like, you're a medic. I'm in the Air Force, so I'm always going to love my fellows. I'm in IT.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I wanted to do. They wouldn't give me a top secret clearance. I only qualified for a secret. So it's because I lied about a parking ticket.
I can't
say
anything about. I don't think I know anything about that. But yeah.
All right. Well, let's see if Grumple stumbles his way over.
I think y'all heard him talking shit about Yoda. Y'all didn't come on to defend Yoda. Is kind of crazy. But you want to come on and talk about Iran.
What about Yoda?
You heard? See, you were there. You heard him.
No, I don't know. I don't know. What are you talking about?
Oh, okay, yeah, all right. He was just talking shit about Yoda, man.
I used to know him. So I have a house right behind Buckley Air Force Base. And I used to have this customer that he worked, and he was in the Air Force, and he worked in computers, and but he worked in I guess he worked in the radar installation there on Buckley, and I have it every time he talked about his job. I'm like, I have this picture of you having to go you'd go down in the Get Smart elevator and go through the secret door with the guys with guns that if you come out they shoot you. If you're not who you say you are, they shoot you. And he's like, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much where I live. That's where I work. And I'm like, I didn't think the Air Force was that cold blooded. And I think he said they had Marine guards, but
I was gonna say when I was staying on station, if we owned a firearm, we're supposed to keep it in the Army. I don't think everybody did that, but
I think it depends on the base commander. You can keep it at home as well, but only if you live in base housing.
Right. That would, if you don't live in base housing, you live off base, right?
No, I was thinking more dorms.
I gotta address Anson here. Ryan didn't own anything. Ryan doesn't own anything. Ryan can't prove anything. He makes these random ass statements that he reads in a newspaper somewhere, and then you say, "Well, prove it, back it up," and he's like, "I can't. I got no."
Well, what are you talking about? Ryan I don't know why he left. He could have hopped onto it, and then he could have defended himself instead of trying to.
He has no power here.
He's scared.
I don't think he's scared. He has been on before, and I'm pretty fair. But it's just, look, you can't make a statement like that the reason Trump pulled out in 2018 was because he just doesn't like Iran. That's not how that works, right? Like, there's a reason. There has to be a reason.
This is what anti-Trumpers believe. They think he's a fucking dictator, Grid, that he's some kind of supervillain from a fucking comic book.
He's a wannabe. He just can't. We live in a great nation with a constitution.
That's not what motivates
that he loves to try to get around. But
well,
power does motivate the man. You're tripping.
Let's just kind of stick to that topic that Ryan was kind of where Ryan couldn't defend himself on is
audio check.
Yeah, I got you.
We got you, buddy.
Yeah, I got you.
All good. Okay.
So I think we all agree though with the Iran strikes. Well, EOD kind of didn't. It didn't sound like, but he was kind of defense.
Agree on what?
Iran strikes.
Did I want it to happen? Yeah, I think that it's possible that there's a justification for it, but I haven't seen it yet. So.
But you don't think that paying off terrorist organizations to kill U.S. personnel is justification?
Hang on a minute. What are you saying, Grid?
Oh, no, I want to hear what A has to say. What's up, man?
Oh, he's asking me.
Yeah, I was just asking you. We kind of talked about it earlier, but you don't think that paying off these terrorist organizations I guess I was talking to Ryan, but you don't think that paying off the terrorist organizations, directing them and giving them weapons and stuff to kill U.S. personnel, and to threaten our national security concerns is reason enough?
I mean, honestly, no, because of the proxy war that is likely to ensue. I think we need to defend ourselves against any incursions, but retaliation is part of that. But beyond that, I don't want to be involved in a protracted war in Iran. I think that's a terrible decision to make. I think it's going to be a terrible outcome.
Just the bombing specifically, not the protracted war.
Right. Well, the
That hasn't
bombing
happened.
could lead to a protracted war, and it does elevate tensions in the region in between the United States and Iran. And and I still haven't seen the justification for it. If I see all the justification, I'd probably be okay with it.
Can I address this with you really quick? I don't think Iran has the capability for a protracted war. First of all, again, they're a bunch of tribes people. They don't have. I mean, there are.
I think your mic cut out again there, Grid.
My mic cut out.
Yeah, it sounded like
it cut out like fiercely. Like it not only cut out, but it made like a weird noise at the same time.
Oh, that's weird.
Sounds like the cable got cut.
Like when you disconnect a hydraulic cable or like a high pressure air cable, that was the sound it made.
No, that's very strange. I didn't. Well, I might have hit the mic stand or something. Anyway, so look, and let's just put aside the fact that Iran is supplying the weapons and paying the Houthi rebels to shoot rockets at our boats for the last 2 years. We'll ignore that. We'll ignore the fact that they've that the Iranians have done some pretty uncool stuff. But we'll just ignore that, right? Even if Iran wanted to have a protracted war with us, I don't think they could. The reason we would have a protracted war is if, for some stupid ass reason, the president decided to stay there and just continue to fight and pull another Afghanistan. Now, I think the one thing that I don't think Trump is willing to do is to do that. I don't think he's willing to get into a protracted, long, dumbass war. Now, if he can win, I think he's willing, and he sees this as a win. These need to be destroyed. We destroyed them. Done. Now, if Iran ramps up attacks or something, then he deals with those. But I just don't see him pulling a Bush, Obama, Biden sort of, go over there and occupy. I don't see that. Now, as of
earlier this afternoon, Iran just sent 6 missiles against a U.S. Air Force base in Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so they have ramped up, right? And then, like you were just saying, the Michigan thing, the Ayatollah's calling for retaliation all across the world from Muslims against Westerners.
The Michigan thing was literally. I mean, that guy's mom went there. It's the guy's like mental.
Yeah, mental health thing. Yeah. Well.
Nothing to do with that. Yeah.
In any case, the Ayatollah is calling for Muslims to rise up against Westerners all around the world.
Sure,
that's bound to lead to
always do that.
Negative effects.
They always do that. They always do that. They were going to do that no matter what. It doesn't matter. Trump could have walked across the street and they would have done the same thing.
Yeah, probably.
So, I mean, look, let's just call it what it is. It needed to be done. Nobody in their right mind wants Iran to have nuclear weapons. You'd have to be a complete moron. Like literally drooling on yourself, moron, to be willing to say, I'm okay.
I'm not okay with Iran having nuclear weapons. I'm not.
Grid. Also, it's funny that you mentioned that because there were quite a few people that mentioned that tonight, and that was their position. And yes, I would agree with you that that's exactly what they portrayed themselves as, having that stance.
Well, there's no upside to anyone in that region.
Literally no good things to happen from that.
Nothing good comes from anyone in that region having nuclear weapons. And I'm not even saying because they would necessarily, I mean, I would say that obviously the potential for them using those weapons against Christian nations such as ours is very high, sure, but the higher potential is they sell them to somebody. Right? Like, do we really look? And of course, I am not the world police guy. I am the non-interventionist guy. I think that as far what Trump did is that's the line right there. Send some planes over, we drop some bombs, we come back. Guys are back before breakfast, and they eat at McDonald's on their way home. That's the kind of shit. That's about as far as I'm willing to go. But can you imagine the world outcry? Let's just say we hadn't done this. Fast forward a year, Iran is selling nuclear devices to Ghana, right? Or some other little African dictatorship down there, and they're using those against their neighbors, right? Mali, right? Like Mali's a war zone. So let's just say that those guys just get tired of it and say, yeah, we're just going to buy, this guy, we're going to give Iran, $1 billion in diamonds because we got them fucking blowing out a cask over here. Let's just go ahead and pay, we'll just give them $1 billion. They'll give us a nuke and we'll just take Ghana off the planet or whatever. I can't remember all the African countries, but we'll just take one off the planet. And who wants to live with
a lot of them?
Yeah. I mean, what would happen? What would then what would happen then is everybody would blame Trump for not bombing that facility when he had the opportunity. So I'm okay with it. Now, is it my favorite thing? Hey,
well, go ahead.
The radical coder dude, if you're out there,
well, before he comes in and starts spurging all over the fucking chat. Okay?
He said he's going
to
walk his dog.
Okay, so look, the appropriate non-interventionalist stance here is that not only should Iran denuclearize and prove to us in the IAEA that they're denuclearized, and they haven't, is that Israel should as well. Get it on both sides of the fence, nip it in the bud, and be done with it. One of the things Melissa in my kick chat keeps bringing up is Pakistan and India both have nuclear weapons as well. So if we really want non-intervention...
I really don't want Pakistan having nuclear
weapons. If we want anti-proliferation, there's several targets we need to be talking about. But
yeah, but we're talking about stopping countries from developing. You can't
take them away.
The whole point of you don't go into a nuclear country and try to take them away forcefully because then nukes go off. The whole point is to stop countries, especially theocracies, that are willing to use them.
This is what I've been saying. Like every single time anything global comes up, like I'm 100% surprised that India and Pakistan, some kind of nuclear scuffle, hasn't already happened. Because that's going to be the first one that happens.
It helps that the U.S. is there and that neither of those countries are. I mean, Pakistan kind of is, but neither of them are like suicidal theocracies.
Yeah,
Pakistan kind of is.
Kind of help. I mean, it's like
I said, Pakistan kind of is. Yeah.
No, Pakistan's war is. Yeah, but they are very much. They like being alive, kind of like North Korea.
Right. Well, okay, so you can force sanctions, you can force denuclearization at threat of sanctions. There is a way to accomplish that, okay? But what am I saying here? Is that when it comes to Iran, okay, it was always Israel's fucking conflict. They have every means to accomplish the task at hand. There was no reason for us to really get involved unless the situation has changed beyond what the public was already aware of, and I have not seen the evidence to support that. That's what I keep getting to. That's what I keep coming back to. But.
Yeah. Well,
it's Israel's fucking conflict. It's not our mess to get our nose fucking into it. And by doing that, we get closer and closer to a protracted war that I don't want to see happen. So
you don't want to use a protractor?
I don't want a protractor. No.
What about
artillery? I don't want artillery on the ground launching fucking artillery shells at
what about a
ground troops in the mountains of fucking Iran. I don't want that happening.
So you don't want to be able to figure out your grids for calling in supporting fire?
Yeah, I don't want supporting fire. I don't want
protractor really helps.
I don't want people on the ground. I don't want any of that. No.
No, EOD. Remember? I forget. We're like just a protractor really helps you figure out grids on a map.
I know.
So you can call in fire.
So I think that we're all on the same page, but except so I agree. Look, EOD. I'm a non-interventionist, right? I really, really don't want to.
Bandit says hi, Grumple.
Be the world's police.
Wait, which panda? I'm gonna get racist in a second.
Bandit, like
if we have the opportunity,
I have all my channels up.
Presents itself. Sometimes you got.
It was a unique opportunity, and like I say, Pete Hedseth said this. This is what you said, Random Independent, is that it was a unique opportunity that we've never seen before, where Iran's air defenses were all absolutely crippled because of the IDF.
Absolutely, yeah. And what's more here, and look, I'm with you on this to some degree, but it was such a unique opportunity, and. They don't care about embargoes. They literally sold billions of dollars of oil while we were.
They don't care at all,
right? And
doesn't even impact them. Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah, it's not even an inconvenience. We've done embargoes. We've limited student visas.
Russia and China always pick up the slack. Yeah.
Well, even if they don't, they find a way around it, right? Like Iranians will go into Pakistan or Uzbekistan, and then they just get a different set of papers, and they come here and they get whatever they get whatever they want, right? So I mean, I think the measures at work. What the problem that we have is that a lot of us tend to think in terms of what works with modern westernized nations. And when you're dealing with the Middle East, it just doesn't work that way, right?
It's an entirely different culture.
It's just a really different culture.
Things don't. It lost in translation is the easiest way to describe it.
So, Seth Spence. I don't necessarily agree with this. I actually think the U.S. should be unchained. Canada should be unchained to produce the oil that we can for ourselves, and that would cripple, just to a large degree, that would cripple.
If we stop buying it, for sure.
Granted, now Russia's not selling oil to China as much, so China is OPEC's biggest customer, and so certainly I'm sure the Chinese don't care at all about buying Iranian oil. That's totally fine for them. And
just point of order, just Russia was more about they're giant in natural gas. That's what they sell to everybody.
Yeah, that's true. But but Siberia and
Siberia's got a whole that's what China wants. They want to.
Mongolia
get the natural
has a lot of
resources
oil
out of Siberia.
Yeah, so Mongolia, which is south.
It's between the two countries.
Eastern Russia, right? It's like the belly between and the buffer between Russia and China, and they mostly speak Russian there. So. But anyway, at any rate, yeah. I mean, so I don't disagree with you that we should promote Saudi Arabia producing more oil so that it hurts the other, it hurts to some degree Iran and Iraq and all of the rest of that area's ability to oil.
On the east and Kazakhstan, just a little bit to the west, those are the two buffer countries that are between Russia and China.
Yeah. And they all have oil. Right.
There's a few other little things in here and there, but those are the giant ones.
I'm sure there's a bunch of oil in South China Sea, too.
I think Kazakhstan's bigger than India, just per square foot. I think it is per square mile.
And you guys on the screen won't be able to hear it because
Mr. Boulay in the Department of Numismatics donated $10 super chat. If Iran has no rights to big flashy pew-pews, then why haven't we lined up all our planes wingtip to wingtip and arc light north, K?
I don't disagree with Mr. Boulay. Thank you for that. The reason you guys can't hear it is because it only plays to YouTube. It doesn't play to Talk Studio.
I'm trying to work on the whole panel versus Texas. I'm working on that. If I get a solution, I'll let you know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so we're not going to carpet bomb Iran, right?
We already kind of did. What did he say? Like I said, the Joint Chiefs of Staff addressed the press. He said they attacked 3 different sites. 2 of those sites got hit with 14 different bunker busters. That's about as much carpet bombing as you can get with a bunker buster in it. That's more than necessary. But what was it?
Yeah, but when you're saying carpet bombing, you're saying like at least you just
like surface bombs.
Non-intentional. At least you over civilian areas, you don't give a fuck. You're just leveling the whole place.
Yeah, that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, turn it into an entire.
This was a precision strike for sure. So, but it was suspected that only 2 were going to be necessary to take out Fardo, and they sent fucking 7 apparently. Yeah, or maybe more than that.
Well, I guess there were 3 sites. What's up, Triac? How are you, sir?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm tired today, man, but I'll get over it. How
Welcome in, Leprechaun, sir.
Sorry, what was that?
He said.
I think Rump was saying something about being a Leprechaun. No, I've been good, great. Like I said, kind of getting back into swing.
I think there's a Rumple has because I'll stop talking and then there's there's a space and then he starts talking.
Not. No, that's me being polite.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right. Anyway,
that's human lag. Because I'm a simple monkey, dude. Come on now.
He's eating crayons.
He's a simple man. He's a simple man.
I'm a simple.
But yeah, no, like
man,
this.
We can do Simple Man. If you want to do Simple Man, we can do Simple Man.
Maybe later.
No, I'm a simple man too. But yeah, this whole thing with like Iran.
That's not for Gridstream. We do karaoke on Grumple Stream, not Gridstream.
Okay.
Yeah, this whole shenanigans with Iran, like it's very. You have to be very kind of like precise in the way you're kind of like detailing it, because there'll be people who be like, "Oh, like I don't want to fucking get in a war with Iran. I don't want military troops on the ground in Iran, all this kind of shit." And it's like, yeah, like I agree with you, but no one's saying that we need to put boots on the ground in Iran. You know what I mean? These like airstrikes is all that you really need to do, because if you analyze the population of Iran, you realize that like well over 2/3 of the people of Iran want the secular state. Like they're done with this whole Islamic regime and all this kind of shit. And when you have a regime that is superstitious enough that like they don't give a fuck about prosperity or building wealth or any of that shit, Walmart generates more fucking revenue than Iran, than the whole nation of Iran. One American company. So in terms of like actually building up the area, like I see in Saudi Arabia, like there are examples in the Middle East of like areas that like that actually played ball with the West and they're thriving now. But the regimes that were the regimes that were Islamist and they only had one goal, which is to wipe Israel off the face of the map. All of them are in fucking dishevels. They're in ruins. It's basically the chickens are coming home to roost for Iran. So like I said, like I support the stuff that Trump's doing, but this whole thing of like going to war with Iran or putting group troops on the ground, like no one's saying that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody has. Nobody's talked about that we're going to have further involvement, right? Independent. You didn't say anything about that, right? You're pretty much like it looks like we're going to stop here. Is that accurate? I think he may have stepped away.
I'm the one who's worried about a protracted war, and I'm still concerned about that. I mean, so the thing, the people who are beating the war drum are saying is regime change, like Teriak is talking about. Like we're gonna get the populace to overcome, and that's exactly what we did in Syria. If we can work something out similar where we don't have to be fucking involved, then okay. But
so and this is actually a good point. I kind of draw the line.
Bomb and shit. It's a different story.
Like, I understand why it was a unique opportunity to go in and put munitions on target and end that specific.
You hit your microphone cord again, Grid.
I didn't touch anything.
You cut out for some
reason. It's back now.
No,
yeah. You can hear you now.
So again, I understand going in and doing a precision strike, doing the put munitions on target, and just let that be it. I get that, and I like that, and I think that most people should not have a problem with that. Once we get into the idea of talking about regime change, because none of this has ever worked out for us, guys.
Yeah,
we have 70 years of history where the United States of America has gone over there and manipulated and pushed things and pulled things, and this guy's the great guy, and now these guys are the great guys, and we've literally pissed everybody in that area off, and very few people over there really trust or like Americans at this point. I don't blame them, because at some point the United States has fucked over everybody in the region, and so what we really need to do is just take 10 years off. It's like when you get in a fight with your coworker. Like if EOD and I were coworkers, and we got in a fight at work, and we had an argument or whatever. I go home, he goes home, we sleep on it, we come back the next day,
And then you talk about the USS Liberty when you get back to work.
Yeah.
So I heard you say like you're not an interventionist, but then you support the strikes. Interventionism is not just regime change or boots on the ground. It's also doing something like that, or ensuring the freedom of navigation in the seas and stuff like that. So you are kind of an interventionist. That's one. Two, we take 10 years off, and then what happens because China just fills the gap?
No. I don't think the United States should assure safe travel on the high seas. I think that.
Okay, but you just agree with the strikes.
Yeah, the only reason I think the strikes are okay is because it's presented a unique opportunity to reduce the capabilities of a potential enemy, and that's it.
That's interventionism. That's also ensuring navigation of the seas because it allows our economic power to grow. It allows our soft power, our foreign policy soft power to grow. So there's plenty of if that's the excuse, then there's plenty of reasons to be supported.
Well, there's no excuse.
No, if that's the reasoning, I'm not saying excuse as in a negative thing. I'm saying like if that's the reasoning you're giving for supporting the strikes because it degrades the adversary, then that's the
only reason. Well, pardon me, it's not the only reason. That is the reason that I'm okay with it. I didn't necessarily.
I got you. I'm saying yes, and if you're using that logic, that's fine. If you're okay with it, if you're not willing to fight it and the reason you're not willing to fight against it or whatever is because of the logic you're using, that same logic applies
to logical.
I didn't say it's not. Again, I'm not attacking that it's wrong. I'm saying that you are more of an interventionist than you're saying and you would also should be willing to support or not fight against these other things because they also do the things that you're saying that the strike did, i.e. degrade our adversaries or make us stronger. But not to get bogged down on that, we take a break from the Middle East for 10 years and someone's going to fill those shoes and it'll be China.
Sure.
Which means that we are now weaker on the world stage.
See, I've heard that argument before, but I would actually enjoy the Chinese trying to work with the Middle East. That would be fun to watch.
It wouldn't be fun to watch the U.S.
Oh yeah,
they already are, and like then
Pakistan signed on to the Belt Road Initiative.
If I may, just the last that I heard, Bagram was currently under control of China. That was the last I heard. It might not be current.
It's funny to it's fun to I wonder if they'd be able to work because it's been so hard for us or whatever. Even though we've done a pretty good job, everybody just likes to look at the negative aspects, but we've done a great job of
that.
Okay. What? No, I'm just saying if we weigh the pros and cons, I think the pros.
Bagram Air Base, the one that the U.S. pulled out of.
Oh no, I was about to get on that too.
Whatever.
Yeah, no, I was getting to that too. So yeah, it's fun to say, look at all the negative that the U.S. has dealt with in the Middle East. It'd be funny to watch China deal with that until they're successful in dealing with it because they don't have the same goals as the U.S. does, and so they get these bases like Bagram. They're able to extend their forces elsewhere, and then when it comes time to tango, we are now in a weaker position because we let that shit happen for 10 years. And you might not be around to see it, but there's younger people that are going to have to join up to fight that war.
Yeah, right. Okay, so why do you think the Chinese would be better suited to deal with the Iranians?
One, I don't need to think. Well, first of all, it wasn't just Iran; it was the Middle East. You said. Sure. Two, I don't need to think it. It's just a possibility, and I would rather that possibility not be tested when it doesn't have to be. And three, the reason that they might be better off is because they are not as liberal as us. The U.S. forces liberalization into a lot of the countries in exchange for funding for humanitarian aid, especially humanitarian aid. A lot of the humanitarian aid, if not all of it, is for liberal ideas. I wouldn't say bribing. It's more so you want this, we want you to pursue this. Therefore, you can get it, but it's not bribing. Bribing would be one side. In my opinion, bribing is more a one side thing. Like, hey, don't give me this ticket. I'll give you $5. Not.
But it would be like the situation in Taiwan with the chips.
The more the story is that is why I think that China could be more quote unquote successful in a sense that they're not going to be pushing for liberal ideas. They're not going to be pushing for a lot of these things. They're fine with communism. They're fine with dictatorship. They're fine with all these things that the U.S. generally is not, and is willing to push for liberalization internally. But I don't think that any country generally would be successful in an area where Islam rules if it's going to go by Sharia law.
Exactly, and that's the fundamental difference.
But I don't care to take the chance either. I would prefer not to take the chance. We have a very tight grip on the Middle East right now, and I don't want to lose it.
This is very interesting. So do you consider China the biggest threat in the world?
I think that low-key Islam, radical Islam might be the biggest threat in the world. Radical religion, generally speaking, is probably the biggest threat. But if we're talking about like countries, China's up there.
Yep.
Why?
Because
communism.
I'm just very pro-U.S. and I'm very pro-U.S. world order that it has created. And so if a country is wanting to take that away,
it's just that the us versus everybody else mentality.
I don't think it's us versus everybody else, but I do think that what they export is not what the Constitution adheres to. It's not what freedom is. And although the U.S. at times, some may even say presently, hasn't walked the line that it should, generally speaking, that is kind of what we stand for and what we stood for a very long time. And we progress more towards those ideals, even if we haven't, even if we haven't done them, and even if we haven't lived up to the ideals of the words of the Constitution, we have constantly strived to get closer to that, where we have gotten closer to that. And I don't think that other countries do that. Russia, and none of those other big countries do that. So if you took China, if you took the USSR, I mean, China wasn't really a thing as it is now, but after World War II, we would not be better off than what we are today.
I know, Chairman. I know, Anson's just being trolling, but this is actually a solid point. Can you give me an example where China has been aggressive outside their borders?
Yeah, literally the South China Sea.
Yeah,
they spray the Filipino fishermen all the time. They spray the Vietnamese. There literally no country around the South China Sea rocks with China. As a matter of fact, Vietnam under Biden's administration, we have I can't remember what it was. It was like a strategic, whatever they've upgraded us to is the highest we've been since the Vietnamese War, and that is on the backdrop of Chinese aggression. The Philippines started moving away from the U.S. And because of Chinese aggression, have now moved back into the sphere of the U.S. Japan is obviously in our sphere.
Hold on, I'm not familiar with. Just pretend I'm not familiar with it. So
China has been making islands to increase their, because you have sovereign territory 20 nautical miles off of your coast. China has been creating fake islands in order to increase their sovereign area.
Yeah.
India and China do not get along for reasons. Russia and China actually doesn't have any neighbors it gets along with. The U.S., on the other hand, before Trump, had multiple neighbors we got along with. Really, the only one we didn't really get along with was Cuba.
We still have neighbors we get along with, buddy.
No, I'm just saying. But I'm just saying we were even under Trump we have. So China has neighbors it gets along with.
China does want to support Russia in the Ukraine war. They have supported Russia in the Ukraine war. They have pledged support for Iran and this current conflict against the United States. So is Russia. So I mean, we're sitting here saying, "Oh, they're not going to get involved. They're not going to get involved." When the rhetoric is saying the exact opposite of what you all are saying.
Well, them saying that they support doesn't mean they're going to get involved.
I mean,
they've already sent supplies to Iran, as far as I'm aware.
Usually in material.
Sending humanitarian aid is different than sending air defense systems or aircraft that would get bombed anyway. They're not going to send aircraft to Iran because Israel would just bomb them. It's just a fact. You send fighters to Iran before they can even make it off the ground. The F-35 has destroyed them.
Yeah,
it makes zero sense. Why would they send billions of dollars in aid that they know is going to be destroyed? Because Iran doesn't have any air defense systems right now.
Well, I mean, what is the it's to make it target for F-35s to get kills, because otherwise they wouldn't get any.
But real talk, like what is the threat from Iran here?
Well,
as an American, what is the threat that you're worried about? Because again, this was a stealth mission, stealth bomb the shit, and even that American done it. Like Iran's already in a situation where they have to go through Israel before they can even get to America.
Iran calls America the great Satan that they want to nuke.
Are you saying that? Are you asking what is the threat of Iran, generally speaking, or specifically why do we use the stealth mission and all the capabilities that we used during that bombing mission?
No, like given the fact that you've done the operation, you've done the stealth bomber, what is the threat? Because everyone's like trying to like panic me into thinking that like America's going to get dragged into war, but how are you going to get dragged into war in this situation? I don't understand.
Okay, I'll tell you what the threat is. The threat is that, number one, like I just said, Russia, China pledged defenses. The Turkish Navy deployed out into the Mediterranean Sea to stand toe-to-toe with the Gerald Ford strike group. That's not good. This is a rise in tensions. And if it comes to the conclusion that our strike was ineffective or did not completely eradicate Iran's ability to produce nuclear weapons, we're going to have to go in with something that's more, hands-on, I'm afraid, in order to accomplish the task at hand that they're trying to accomplish, which is, again, supposedly to stop something from happening that we haven't seen the evidence that it's happening. Iran does not have the payload.
When do you stop them? When you see the nuke, or before you see the nuke?
Yeah, when we see them developing a weapon that's capable of carrying that munition. Yeah,
I like this random independent guy.
Why do you need an aircraft capable of carrying the nuke instead of just having the nuke?
Not the aircraft, not a missile. Okay, any kind of munition,
a warhead or whatever. The issue is that they're developing in the first place. I don't understand how you go from we should wait until they have the capability to actually nuke somebody to stop them. At that point, you're not stopping them from developing a nuke. They've already developed a nuke, and now you're in bigger trouble because if you don't destroy it, they have that nuke and they'll just walk it across their border and blow people up.
Exactly.
So I guess that's my issue with people that say, or the logic behind it is just like, at what point do you find? Because you're saying we should stop, we should do everything we can to stop Iran from having the nuke, but then you switched it now to, well, even if they have the nuke, it's okay because they don't have a warhead or they don't have anything to put it on. And
that's
so
the nuke. The nuke is the missile with the warhead on it. That's the nuke
argument.
I get what EOD. I get what you're trying to say, right?
Okay.
Like, because of this action, things have stepped up in the region, and they could continue to escalate. I get it.
Yeah.
We'll just have to see how it plays out, right? Like, I personally think it ends badly for Iran if they continue to escalate. Just even with standoff weapons, right? My concern, right, is my biggest concern is I don't want to have to continuously deal with the Middle East. I would rather just get out of the area, leave it alone. I understand everybody's like, well, China will move in. Fine. Let China move in. If China can pacify the region, great. If they get their asses kicked for 70 years like we did, we will. Well, you should have learned your lesson watching us, right? If it works for them, fucking great. I'm not scared. It's like the Cold War with Russia, right? I grew up in the Cold War with Russia, and everything was Russia's going to launch bombs. They're spinning up missiles in silos, right? I watched all the fucking Firefox and all of these movies about the great Russian threat that never fucking happened, right? And so
yeah,
I have a massive amount of doubt about China being the next boogeyman. First of all, I don't believe in the boogeyman. I'm tired of hearing about the boogeyman. I just don't give a fuck about the boogeyman. China, they're trying, obviously, China's the new boogeyman, right? Russia's ineffective. Russia can't even fight its way through Ukraine, right? Like, that's embarrassing. And so now it's China. China's the new guy, right? And we're supposed to be afraid of the Chinese wanting to take over the world. I mean, a lot of people would say economically they already have, and you're already fucked. So just just start learning Mandarin.
Yeah, but Grid, if I ask you this,
is your argument you just want to lay down?
If the question is this, though, Grid,
really arguing. I'm just making a satirical.
Yeah, is that argument? It's just argument. That's literally what argument is. Is your argument, is your side of the position that you should just lay down and take it because people buy stuff from them?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, so what? I guess I'm still confused because
I'm saying
my side of the aisle, or at least my argument, is that we prevent our. First of all, I don't think anybody's argument is that China is taking over the world. I don't think that's the argument. It's more of a world order, U.S.-based world order thing than anything. But I think my side of it is we prevent our influence from waning. We keep our soft and hard power strong to prevent the ability of the worst case scenario from happening. And it sounds like what you're saying is
been able to prevent that, though.
We have done plenty to prevent that. That's why Russia is who it is. That's why they failed in Ukraine, is because we prevented them.
The reason they failed in Ukraine,
I don't know if you're talking EOD, but you're muted.
50 years they've spent every dime they could on nuclear, or not nuclear, but also nuclear technology, but trying to increase the military that they couldn't even afford. Like, I mean,
you're talking about Russia?
Yeah, Russia.
Yeah. Russia failed because Russia failed because of the support given to Ukraine.
Russia.
It's not because they didn't buy enough stuff.
No, that's bullshit. They're winning.
So Ukraine would exist. You think Ukraine would exist today You think Ukraine would exist today as it currently stands without U.S. support?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, so we're
We should
saying
be
the same
supporting
thing.
them as much as we are.
We should be, but we're saying the same thing.
Why
We actually should be supporting them more.
Why
I just said why. It's again, it's going to fall under the world order thing. I don't have to keep on reiterating it.
But, okay.
the Russia is an adversary. Putin wants to bring back the USSR. That is his goal. He stated it on multiple occasions.
Yeah, but I mean,
the worst thing.
Yeah, and I can say I want to fucking.
So you can, and when you start making
No,
moves
that's
towards doing what you say,
the USSR thing is out of context.
it's not out of context. It's out of context so much that he keeps on invading countries that were previous Soviet Union countries. That's how out of context it is. So going back to what I was saying, you can say all you want, Grid, but that doesn't change
name these countries. Name these countries that he's invaded.
Georgia. Ukraine.
Is Georgia still a nation? Georgia's still a nation.
Georgia, Ukraine. Did he invade them? Yes or no?
Ukraine is still a nation.
Did he invade them? Yes or no?
He tried to install his puppet after the Americans put their puppet in. Yeah, so he put the military in there, but they're still independent sovereign nations.
Okay, thank you.
They're still independent sovereign nations.
That's what you were saying, Grid. It doesn't matter whether you say what you want to say.
What you mean back to what you're saying? You're wrong. You're wrong about the Putin situation.
Sure, I'm wrong about that specific situation. If you want to say,
no, look,
I'm not. But
I
we can agree to agree, disagree. So
you're wrong about
to what you were
Putin's whole
saying.
goal here to invade and all that shit.
That's fine. It's just so funny. It's funny that he invaded Ukraine, he invaded Georgia. There's another country I can't think of right now. And then when Belarus or whoever it was,
the whole shit went down to Ukraine is because Americans are putting nukes on his border.
And then they release the photo op, and it's showing them also wanting to invade Moldova. So it's just funny how everything seems to line up with the same rhetoric that he's been spewing about the USSR. But of course, it's taken out of context.
When you understand the populations, you understand that a lot of those areas are heavily ethnically Russian.
That doesn't mean anything.
And they would prefer to be back in Russia. When you talk to those people,
actually, if you look at the polling prior to, which is why they invaded Crimea and installed their own guy. Because if you look at the polling beforehand, it wasn't that they wanted to be part of Russia. They also didn't want to be part of Ukraine. They wanted to be their own sovereign nation.
There are large blocks of population that would prefer to be Russia.
You just said, there's
large
blocks.
And when Ukraine war broke out, a large population of Ukrainians defected to Russia.
We can give that example. Ukraine, Crimea, during the polling prior to the annexation and stuff, they did not want to be part of Russia. They wanted to be an independent nation. So don't bring up that bullshit, that fucking Putin bullshit Russian.
That there are large populations in Eastern Europe that prefer to be part of Russia.
Because it's wrong. It's just flat out wrong. And even if they did want to be part of Russia, it's irrelevant because that's not how the world works. Where I'm going to become a separate.
I'm just stating the fact that there are large swaths of population.
You're regurgitating. I understand you're regurgitating Russian propaganda, and it's irrelevant because again, the polling taken prior.
It's not irrelevant.
The polling taken prior. Yes, it is because
the reason why we've gone down here is because.
They didn't want to be part of Russia. They wanted to be their own independent nation.
Oh my God! When both of you are fucking talking, I can't hear either one of you sons of bitches.
The reason why that quote was taken out of context. The reason why that
quote? What is my quote? And when was it?
That Putin wants to restore the USSR.
What is the quote?
That's why we went down this rabbit hole.
Okay, what is the quote and when was it said?
That's often taken out of context because what he's often talking about in those interviews is about the USSR. Yes, and he's saying that it's a shame that it fell. Well, he's not a communist. He doesn't stand for the same ideals for USSR, but he wants Russia to be.
I'm not saying he wants to bring back communism. I'm talking about he wants to bring back the empire.
He's very proud. He's very proud of the Russian heritage, their history. That's why he blabbed on for like an hour.
Let him fucking finish what the fuck he's saying, brother.
That's why
he interrupted me when I was talking, and now you're telling me to let him finish.
Yeah,
I was talking to Grid 1, and he interrupted me to talk about how I'm wrong about Putin.
Yeah, this whole thing, like,
don't tell me to let the dude talk when he's sitting here regurgitating Russian propaganda.
It's the same thing when
it doesn't matter if he's regurgitating fucking points.
The reason why I called,
then you've done it. What the fuck?
To be clear, the reason
why should I let a dude that interrupted me finish?
Start muting. Okay, so please.
So the reason why I'm calling this out is because it's the same thing.
And then tell me to let someone else finish after they interrupted me.
Yeah, it's the same thing that Grid was talking about, like where China's the boogeyman. It's this whole thing of like Putin's the boogeyman. This is like a Democrat talking point. He wants to restore. He wants to bring the USSR back. He doesn't want to bring the USSR back. He wants Russia to be as glorious as it once was and all this kind of shit. But this whole nonsense that he's basically gonna like fucking take all of Europe. That is the fear porn. That's propaganda. That's all I'm saying. That's the quote unquote disagreement here.
Yes, thank you for regurgitating the Russian. Thank you for interrupting me to regurgitate Russian propaganda. So we can look at their actions. We don't need to look at just the words, and we see them invading their neighboring countries on multiple occasions.
Okay.
And nobody's talking about them bringing back communism. It was about bringing it back geographically, the USSR, as much as they could, which is why we also saw them with the photo op of also invading Moldova, not just Transnistria or whatever that little section is, but Moldova itself. Just so happens to be an ex-USSR country. And it's why all the ex-USSR countries are building up their militaries as well, because they recognize a threat. And it's obviously, someone sitting not in one of those countries and not having to deal with that. It's always nice and comfortable to say, oh, that's not actually what's going to happen, because you don't actually have to deal with it if it did happen. But those countries
Europe's
do,
not forming an army.
Scotland or Ireland or wherever you're from, it's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant country.
Yeah. So I understand the history.
Your accent dictates that you live in an irrelevant country.
I understand the history. That's the difference. But the main reason why Putin's been so aggressive on the borders is because of NATO.
Yes, of course it
is. The same way. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? Remember the way that America was going to start another world war because Russia was going to put nukes in or missiles in Cuba, and you were like, that ain't happening. Basically, that's what Russia is doing. It's the same thing. Essentially, same scenario.
What nukes
Russia saying
what nukes were in Georgia?
Ukraine is not forming NATO. Is not becoming part of NATO. Russia's putting his foot down. And America said, Biden said, fuck that. We'll do what we want. And then Russia said, okay, fuck that. We're taking the country back.
Okay, so what nukes were in Georgia?
That's basically the Ukraine war.
What nukes were in Georgia?
What?
What
talking about Ukraine.
We're in Georgia.
We're talking about Ukraine.
No, I'm talking about all the.
Can you stick on the point? Can we stick on the point, or you just want to keep
talking about all the? If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
He does need help. He does need help, so maybe you can help.
I do actually want to ask a random independent a question, because it was something that was brought up, and I think this is something that I think you understand. I'm not 100% sure, but so Putin's policies aren't communist. And
I'm not. That's not my.
And he's not really trying to reestablish the USSR as so much as he wants. Again, I think Russia. I don't know how he's phrased it, because I don't speak Russian and I don't trust the translations. So, but it is something similar to what Teriak said. So I have a question. Do you think the war in the Ukraine, which was mostly started because of the denial of Russia to its historic all-season port, which is the only one that Russia has access to, by the Ukraine, who were emboldened, I believe that Zelensky was emboldened by or assured by the U.S. that we would back him up, and the idea that he was going to be part of NATO, and that there would be weaponry forthcoming. I believe that Zelensky was emboldened by that. And so when Putin said, and I don't know if you remember this, when Putin said, if you block our access to this port, you continue to charge and tax our people for use of our ancestral port, we'll go to war. And then then what did he do? He put tanks on the border. And Zelensky could have at any point said, you know what? Let's come back to the table. This is the same thing that happened with Crimea. Let's just get back to the table. We'll work something out on this. Putin did not demand that the port be part of Russia again. He didn't talk about seizing it. He didn't talk about conquering Ukraine. Initially, all he wanted was access to Russia's port, which is important to them because it's the only port that they have where they can receive shipments through all year, right? Because I don't know, it's very cold up there, and the other ports get iced up or whatever the fuck. I don't know. I don't live in Russia, but so with that, do you remember all of that, or are you just remembering the rhetoric that Putin put his tanks and said, "We're going to invade you if you don't do this"?
Actually, he never said that. He was very adamant up until the day of. Even actually during the invasion, he was adamant. I don't even know if he's called it an invasion yet. That wasn't going to happen. It was just an exercise. So it wasn't the rhetoric that I'm remembering. It's facts.
Okay, so then real quick.
That's one. God. Oh, you want to interrupt again? Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick. What's your take on what's your take on the peace talks that was interrupted by Boris Johnson sent over by Biden to make sure that peace wouldn't be signed? Because there was a deal. There was a deal that was on the table. Russia was ready to sign it.
He can't wait to. No, let him get it out. He can't wait to get it off his chest.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I really want to hear what he had to say, Terry. So let him finish that, and we'll come back to the.
You sure you guys don't want to hear him talk over me a little bit more?
No, dude, we can all be polite here. Terry X, he just had a question. Yeah, he just had a question. So it's okay.
I mean, being a man has nothing to do with being polite. Where was I? The port thing. Yeah, that's one very one-sided perspective for sure. There's a reason that none of Russia's neighbors like them, and it's not because of anything other than they're just dickheads, and they know what Putin wants. And it's funny, again, to be in the countries that don't have to put up with that, while the citizens of those countries do know what he is after, and which is why they keep on building up their militaries, and which is why they want someone like the U.S. to protect them, because without that security guarantee, then they have no protection, which is why they constantly join NATO. Why they want to join NATO, why they want to join the EU, because they want those security guarantees, because they know what Russia is capable, what Putin specifically wants to do. And so again, it's we're sitting in our chairs in the U.S. or in Ireland or wherever dude is from, being comfortable and whatnot, and saying, oh no, he doesn't actually want to do this. While actually people have to live in fear. While people actually have to live in fear, and because he's constantly invaded his neighbors, repeatedly invaded his neighbors, repeatedly. And of course, again, you got someone like Teriak who takes the blame away from him and says, "Oh, it's because of this external being. That's why he just had to do it."
No, I'm just holding both sides accountable.
And again, we can look at the memorandums, and the facts will show that Teriak is wrong. The people actually voted out. The people actually voted out Putin's stooge, and that's when everything went down.
That's not, okay. So that's not what happened. The CIA influenced the election that. Put Zelensky in place. It's a plant for somebody that's actually more aligned with American interests and more aligned with joining NATO in the first place.
You would think that Russia does not have a CIA equivalent doing the same thing. It's just so funny. It's just so funny when it's the U.S.
And yet here you are.
When it's the U.S. When it's the U.S.
Let me finish what the fuck I'm saying, dude.
When it's the U.S., it's always the CIA did this. It's not the people that want this. But then when Russia does it, it's somehow the people want this.
No, because I can give you an example.
In order to lean Ukraine back towards NATO in a way that played into the West's hand to try to move NATO further and further east. Since Gorbachev brought down the wall, the United States has moved NATO further and further east, year after year after year after year. Even just recently, Finland joined NATO. They've been pushing for Ukraine to join NATO, even though on one hand you'll see Joe Biden say on one hand, oh no, we never wanted Ukraine to join NATO, and then on the other hand it's, well, if Ukraine wants to join NATO, then we would totally back that decision. This kind of shit. Not only putting military assets on the ground and fueling this war against Russia in Ukraine, instead of keeping our fucking nose out of it like we should have in the first place, which is the real non-interventionist standard to have. But Russia, this whole fucking thing is a response to Western aggression in the first damn place. And if you can't see that, then you've absolutely ignored any amount of history in the past.
Yeah, it's funny because you would expect, again, one-sided thing, also some conspiracy, or I shouldn't say conspiracy, but very unsettled history regarding we won't move further east, blah, blah, blah talk that was never substantiated by even Gorbachev himself, if I remember correctly, came out and stated that was never an agreement. Goddamn, keep going, Teriak. What do you want to say since it's so important?
Because you basically just hand waved and said it's conspiracy theory, all this kind of shit.
I just said it. It's unsettled history. I corrected myself after that. Maybe if you were listening.
Okay. So then we can talk about something more recent. Then can we talk about?
Yeah, we are. So going back to Ukraine. Russia invaded them because NATO, they were going to join NATO. I wonder why they wanted to join. You see how they just completely ignore that part? I wonder why these neighboring countries want security guarantees so bad. I wonder why that is. Maybe it's because the neighboring countries keep on getting invaded. So maybe we should look at it as, Russia keeps on invading its neighbors. That's why their neighboring countries want to join NATO in the first place.
Yeah, so answer me this. Can you just answer me this quick question? Because 2 months into the war, over 3 years ago, there was talks for peace. And Putin has said multiple times, and everybody involved in the situation, there's no secret, right? So this is not conspiracy theory. There was talks for peace.
Let's pull it up.
And Yeah, pull it. I don't know. Great if you want to pull it up. Yeah, like you can just like Google, just basically Google the was it peace talks in March and April of 2022.
No,
right?
not 2022. We're going back to 2014 when they invaded Crimea. When he violated the Budapest memorandum. Yes.
What I'm talking about is in terms of there was
we'll do both,
a peace deal on the table. All Ukraine had to do was sign the peace deal. And
what was the peace deal? What did the peace deal consist of?
Apparently, what?
What did the peace deal consist of? What did the peace deal? I don't care. Yeah, that's great.
It would have ended the war.
Ukraine had to give up everything, but it would have ended the war. What did the peace deal consist of?
So there was a peace deal that even Zelensky himself was going to sign, and Boris Johnson had to come over.
You're not answering the question. What did the peace deal consist of?
Yeah, what I'm talking about, it was good enough that Zelensky himself wanted to sign it.
What did the peace deal consist? No, it's not. What did the peace deal consist of?
Okay, what you want in the deal?
Huh?
Outline what you want to see in this deal.
One more time.
Outline what you want to see in this deal.
Oh, outline. No, I just want you, because you're talking about the deal. I want you to tell us what the deal consists of.
What I'm replying to with this, why does this matter? If Zelensky himself wanted to sign
because you brought. I don't care.
It doesn't matter.
Because you're saying.
If the leader of Ukraine thought it was a good deal, like that surely should be good enough for you. But you're trying to impose this impossible standard.
Seriously, I want you to tell us what the deal was.
What you're trying to do is you're trying to avoid the question. You're trying to avoid when this question goes down. Because because it's my question. Remember, this is my question. What I'm asking is, why did Boris Johnson shut that down? Why did Boris Johnson shut that down? Why did Biden?
How many times I gotta say pull it up?
Yeah. Why did Biden shut down?
Talk about some shit that you don't actually know what you're talking about.
If there was peace going through East,
I want to see what the deal actually was.
I'm asking you a question. No, because you're trying to deflect from the question.
I'm not deflecting.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't answer the question. You're talking about conspiracy theories, but you can't answer the question because peace was on the table. Peace was on the table, and the West said no.
Pull it up.
The West is the reason why this war has continued for an additional 3 years.
We don't care about your opinion.
This is 2025. This is 2025.
Can you pull it up? Yes or no?
This is 2025.
Can you pull it up? Yes or no?
I can like.
Yes or no?
I'm saying Grid's the host. I don't understand what I can pull it up.
You can share your screen and pull it up. Can you pull it up? If not, shut the fuck up.
Okay. Let's go.
Okay, thank you. Pull it up, and don't be some third eye YouTube page. Bring it up, actual source.
Yeah. Here we go. So this is Grok. This is Grok. Give me the key details,
Grok, dude. I don't care about Grok.
Okay, so
Associated Press article. Associated Press.
Associated Press? Are you for fucking real? What do you talk about Associated Press? Unless Associated Press has an article, you're not going to accept this information. My question is, why did Boris Johnson interrupt this deal?
Okay, well, we got some silence.
Exactly.
Cat, good to see you in the chat. Gentlemen, we have to do, first of all, I only have a few minutes left. Thank you for pulling that up for me, Teriak. But
I can't stand it, Kissy Cat.
One of the interesting things that nobody's covered yet is Putin has always had access to nukes, even battlefield nukes, low yield. And you know what he hasn't done? He hasn't used them.
Never used them.
And so that's an interesting observation. I don't know what to read into that. I'm sure that it means something. But the interesting thing that I have, one of the interesting things is, I never thought we should have gotten involved in the Ukraine war. I still think we're wrong to be in the Ukraine war.
You've prolonged it.
I think.
Okay, great. So I think
they're
ask you something real quick.
Criminals, right? I think Putin's a criminal in various ways, and I think that he's not a particular. I wouldn't want him for a neighbor, but it does look like he genuinely cares for his country and wants to do good stuff. On the other side of that, Zelensky's a criminal. He should be in jail at some point. Hopefully, he will be. And the fact that the fact that our tax dollars have supported that criminal offends me on a level I can't even get to.
You voted for Trump.
It doesn't matter who I voted for. I just literally.
I'm just confused about when you draw the line as supporting. It's not illogical. I'm wondering, when do you draw the line as supporting criminals?
Shut the fuck up and let the dude who owns the channel.
When do you draw the line as supporting criminals?
And then he complains about getting interrupted, and he's interrupted.
I only talk about getting interrupted when you guys complain about it.
Complete hypocrite.
I don't mind interruptions because I do it. I don't mind and bitch about me interrupting you or continue to talk.
You constantly complain about interrupted. Yeah,
So
and then
here's the thing.
interrupting the host.
Here's the thing. I never wanted to be in the Ukraine war. I don't like the idea of the Ukraine war. Ever since day one, I said Ukraine war was a bad plan, it's a bad idea. My buddy from Ukraine actually initially supported the war. And then as time went on, you know what? He's like, no, Zelensky's a fucking criminal. Of course, he's also super anti-Israel right now, too. So he'll probably change his mind on that soon. But he's very all over the place. But again,
Shalom.
Sorry?
Shalom.
Yeah. Politically, he's very all over the place. Do I have a silver bullet for this? No, I do not. I got to be honest. I don't understand why it's our fucking problem. And this geopolitical bullshit of world power. We can be a superpower and not have to leave our borders. We don't have to do anything. There's nothing anyone can put up in the air that we can't knock down. There's not a ship on the sea we can't sink. And there's literally like nothing we can't turn into a parking lot. So that's the most force projection that I feel like we need. Now you can talk about boots on the ground here and we should back these guys there. No. We backed a criminal. We legit backed a criminal in Zelensky. And you can say, well, it's better.
I thought you were talking about the president.
Putin, but I don't care. They're both criminals. Why do I have to pick a side?
What? So I'm still confused about what. I guess you said so much wrong and kind of hypocritical.
I didn't say anything.
It's tough for me to focus on.
I didn't say anything.
What is your ideal, or what is your path forward? What is your plan to keep U.S. dictated world order? Because to me, it sounds like everything.
I don't believe in a world order. That's the problem.
You're an
interventionalist. You believe in a world order. Your problem is that you're projecting on everybody else that this idea that there's a world order that we must participate in. I don't believe that. I believe in pre-1918 when we were arguably at our best and most formidable.
We weren't even close to our best.
Arguably, our best. Well, actually, let's go to 1930 when we were isolationist. FDR had to basically allow Americans to be killed to get us into World War II. Nobody in this country wanted to do anything but supply stuff, and we were still the greatest nation on the planet. Everybody knew that. That's why they all came to us for help. We didn't have to do a damn thing outside our borders.
We were literally in a Great Depression, for one thing. I don't know what you mean by the greatest nation on the planet. I'm not sure what we were ranked number one at.
Was greater at the time.
Well, I always find, because the U.S. has the Constitution, that we are going to be the greatest nation. I'm just confused about how you're describing the U.S. as the greatest nation at that time.
The entire world was having economic problems. That's why World War II happened to start with.
No, that's not why it happened, though. It could have been a contributing factor, sure.
Wait, hold on. Why do you think Hitler invaded Poland?
Are we just starting at Poland, or what about these other countries? It doesn't matter. Going back to what I was asking. So you don't believe in a world order? You think the U.S. should just stick to itself and only itself?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. So you don't think trade?
David Teriak on that very thing.
I don't know who Teriak is.
The guy.
I'm the leprechaun. The leprechaun in the bottom right corner.
So you don't think that trade makes the U.S. better?
I'm sorry, my son's mowing lawn right outside. Whatever you just said, I didn't hear it. I apologize.
Okay, so can you define or just kind of elaborate a little bit more on your vision of isolationism?
So I'm a non-interventionist. So
is it only foreign policy, or is it also other things? Is I guess what I was trying
mostly. So I believe that we should participate in foreign policy only as far as it pertains to trade and immigration. We should not participate in protecting other countries' navy or shipping, intercontinental shipping, at the cost of American taxpayers and American lives. If England wants to transship shit, let them build a navy again, right? Like, I just don't give a or hire privateers. Whatever. I don't care.
Okay.
As far as as far as our borders are concerned, I mean, we need to secure them 100%. And we need to bring our troops home, and we need to stop having our young men die on foreign soil for fucking nothing.
Okay. I'm not quite sure who died for nothing, but so
70 years of war in the desert, what have we accomplished?
It hasn't been 70 years.
Zero. They still hate us.
We've accomplished pretty.
What did we accomplish?
The Iranian people love America, by the way.
Generally speaking, they love our cultures and stuff.
Yeah.
The Iran, or not Iran. Are you talking about boots on the ground and just our foreign policy in the Middle East in general?
I'm asking you, after 70 years of Americans dying in the Middle East.
Okay, so boots on the ground. It hasn't been 70 years, but
it has been 70 years since 1950.
But when did we have boots on the ground in 1950 in the Middle East?
We sent people over. We assassinated the leader, and
boots on the ground usually means the military.
And then we sent the military in behind them.
Okay, so which country are you talking about that we have military boots on the ground in the 50s? Like, which country did we invade in the 50s with our military that you were referring
We didn't. Did I say invade?
That's what boots on the ground means. Colloquially speaking, that's what boots on the ground means.
We were involved in several conflicts in the Middle East.
That's why I asked if you're talking about boots on the ground or if you're talking about our foreign policy in general, because those are two separate things in my eyes.
Several conflicts coming to a head in the 1970s, but starting as far back as 1951, 52.
Oh, fuck. Sorry.
Okay, so anyway, going.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm listening.
Oh, my bad. I think we've accomplished a lot. We've secured the Middle East, essentially. Pakistan, as much of a shitty. Yeah, a little bit. Pakistan, as much of a shitty.
What part of the Middle East is secure? I have people in Iran right now.
No, we have secured the Middle East as in it's our sphere of influence.
Bullshit.
Okay.
That's the most bullshit I've ever heard in my life.
It's about to be though.
Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Qatar,
Saudi Arabia only
UAE,
deals with us because we give them billions of dollars a year.
Yes, so thank you for proving my. Continue to prove my point for me.
If Iran becomes secular nation, like if this Operation Rising Lion succeeds, then yes, the Middle East is then settled.
Yes, and you know you're wrong with the Russian propaganda, but I think we are kind of.
It will be, but it's not currently. It's unstable at the moment.
I disagree. Well, agree to disagree. I kind of disagree on that. I think that there's a couple of countries that are, obviously the ones that are most influenced by Iran, i.e. Afghanistan, or at least the terrorist proxies in them. So Iraq is kind of sort of. I mean, it's kind of Iraq isn't really a country anymore. You got the Kurdistan, essentially Kurds in the north, which is very secure for the U.S. Then you got
even looking beyond states, you can see all kinds of rebel groups like the Houthis and the Hezbollah.
Yeah, that's not the Middle East. Hezbollah's gone. And also was only in southern Lebanon, but Jordan. So let's count. Well, I don't know what we're considering the Middle East.
Al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, the Taliban
is not there anymore. Al-Qaeda is not, and Al-Qaeda and Taliban are two separate things. But I don't know what we are considering the Middle East. Some would consider Pakistan the Middle East, some wouldn't. Saudi Arabia, going down a little bit. So we can count. I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. I might be forgetting a country.
Pretty much North Africa to
Libya,
Uzbekistan, the Middle East.
Okay, that's a very wide-ranging Middle East definition. I was thinking more of those specific countries in the Middle East.
I mean,
so I'll just name them.
We could stop in the Mediterranean and go as north as Uzbekistan, east as far as the border of India, and west as far as I forget that Turkey. Although Turkey technically is also the Middle East. Yeah.
Okay, so I was going to count Turkey, but I'll just name the countries, and if I'm missing some, just let me know. So Turkey and NATO ally, Pakistan.
Technically, but
kind of a shitty ally.
Technically an ally, but they have not been with us at all.
In what world is Turkey an ally?
Well, they're in NATO.
They're in NATO. What do you mean? When? What world?
They've already, like I said, they've already sent out their navy to stand toe to toe with the Gerald Ford in the Mediterranean Sea in support of Iran.
That's fine. Okay, so
what do you mean that's fine?
What do you mean that's fine?
That's evidence that they're not
Muslim,
an ally. They're Muslim. Yeah.
So as I was saying,
You're just gonna sit there and spurge and just completely
I
ignore
love the way
that.
he gets confronted with counter evidence and goes, yeah. So anyway, I'm right.
Calling out one thing is not, that's like saying Pakistan is not considered an ally because Osama bin Laden was there. Technically a shitty ally, and also because the Taliban.
It's not.
And
This is active. This is
Taliban and
happening. Turkey has actively deployed their fucking navy to stand against ours. That's not allies. I'm not talking about fucking 25 years ago when fucking Osama bin Laden was in charge of the Taliban.
It wasn't even 20. Osama bin Laden was never in charge with the Taliban.
I knew you'd pick up on that. Good.
Bro, your geopolitics is 10 years out of date.
Is anybody else
I just
streaming
start
right
and then I continue to go.
It's 3 o'clock. You guys know I turn into a pumpkin at 3. So, it's been a good show. I mean, it's been a random show, but it's been a good show. I need somewhere to send you guys. Although I mean, I don't have to.
Well, send them to me or me because Grumple's not even alive right now. Are you live right now, Faye?
Me? No, I'm not live.
Well, I am.
Yeah, send them over to EOD.
All right.
Where's the link?
Yeah, it's right here. Throw it in the back chat, bud. It's been a good conversation. Random Independent. Right. We're gonna have to talk more because
I don't really hop on too much, but yeah, whenever I'm on again, if you guys are bullshitting, I might pop on and talk some shit.
Like 5 shows a week, so but not always this stuff. So
no, I don't even. Let me just make sure I'm following.
I can't
Is this
chat
you
in the
on
back
Unreasonable
chat.
Man?
But it'd have to be my Discord.
Click where it says private and.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. I don't know, man. There's 2 chats in there.
You know,
I'm not used to that.
I remember my first day on the internet.
Shut the fuck up. It's in there.
They said they want EOD's link in the chat.
Yeah, the link.
Well, you're streaming from Discord?
No, I'm not streaming from Discord. But if we want to continue the conversation, that's where it's gonna have to happen.
Oh, I'm not going to Discord. Respectfully, appreciate it though.
We're gonna have to.
That's the live stream right there.
Okay, yeah, I got to send everybody to your live stream so you have some people.
Hell yeah.
All right, that's much better.
Okay.
All right, man.
Can you
Guys,
post a link in the regular chat. They wanted it.
I'll once I hit save, it'll just everybody will forward over there. Although the link is in the back chat for people on the stage because it sometimes won't send if you're in the thing, it won't send you. Let me just do my quick outro here. Later, everybody. It has been a great show today. I have really enjoyed the back and forth. I'm unhappy a little bit that Ryan pieced out, and that's that was unfortunate. But yeah, we'll have everybody back. Teriak, good to see you, man. It's been a long time. I thought
been a while, bro.
I've said some unkind things about you, and I thought you were pissed about it. And I was like, well, he'll show up one day.
Yeah, agreed. Me, I've got like titanium skin. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, at least I'm honest, right? Like I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna be
that's the thing. But like that's the thing with like friends that are close or like people that are close. It's like if they're willing to slander me, all this kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like when I ask for the truth, I know I'm gonna get the truth. You know what I'm saying?
I just said that I feel like that you stagnated in your debate technique there for a while to where you were just yelling at people and strawmanning a lot, and I hope that you kind of got out of that rut. So.
Everyone's a critique. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's a debater. Everyone's a critique.
That's the unkind thing I said about you, sir.
That's fair enough. Fair enough,
So I said, I unfortunately I don't have a lot of filters, so I just say exactly what the fuck I mean. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to go over to EOD's stream. You guys are going to enjoy it there. It's nice. It's clean. I hear the restrooms are functional. In the meantime, I've got to get the fuck out of here. So as always, be cool, wear glasses if you need them, and get the fuck off